Hello, everybody. Welcome to Going Places. As you can see, I've donned a Christmas getup. We've even got some snowy Dr. Eggmans, but we're not here for snowy Dr. Eggmans. We are here for Going Places. Now, it might be a Christmas special, but the premise is still very much the same. We are looking at handheld games, so the games that we would be taking on our travels, so that we can mitigate the monotony of travel, I like to say. And we're also looking at the different destinations. We're going to be having a look at region exclusive games. So we travel around the world looking at games that weren't brought to us over in the West, or maybe they're just games that didn't get a wider release. So I'm Hypnotics. I will be your captain for today's. I don't have captain's hat, but it's Christmas. And we have got a collection of sort of both of the above, I suppose. So we will have a handheld game. We will have A Nightmare Before Christmas, a brilliant Game Boy title. We will have the Maestromusic, which you better keep an eye out for that. That is going to be incredible. But before that, this is a game that I do actually own. I have promised somebody that I need to run it, and yes, that's still a promise that I haven't fulfilled. But anyway, we are gonna have Jingle Cats, courtesy of Sushikishi. So Sushikishi, sorry. We are going to be moving over onto their screen, and Sushikishi, it is all yours. Take it away.
Moshi, it's good to see everybody in chat today. Yeah, we're gonna get right into Jingle Cats because there's a little bit of an intro right at the start as we load in. So we can get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yes, nice little intro here. That's the Jingle Cats hats. There are a couple of the Jingle Cats. If you don't know who the Jingle Cats are, that's just fine. They are a real-life band of cats. You can purchase their album wherever you purchase your music. Widely available, I believe. Their most popular album was Meowie Christmas, if I've got my Jingle Cats lore correctly. And this is an officially licensed game for the band, starring all of the band members. Max, Clara, Binky, Cheese Puff. There we go. Twizzler, Petunia, Cue Ball, and right now is this pretty little kitty named Grammar. And Grammar is a little bit finicky, a little bit picky. She's not always the most cooperative kitty. So we're actually going to pick her for this first stage. And the goal in each stage is to help the two cats that we pick for that stage. In this case, it is Grammar and Binky. I feel like that's not right. I think it's Grammar and Binky, though. We're going to help them become really good friends. We're going to play with them. We need to make sure they're well fed, take care of them, give them baths, pet them behind the ears, all the good stuff. Where's I'm missing a kitty cat. Where's our you're asleep. You're awake. They do not like to be messed with when they're sleeping, as you might imagine. Can you hop down? I don't want to pick you up. Thank you. They also do not like being picked up unless you're putting them in the bath or taking them out of the bath. But right now, I just want them to play with each other, get to know each other a little bit. So I'm going to use this foxtail for that. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, is this big pink special time to give me a nice tutorial about special time, which means anything that they do together is going to boost this love meter at a faster rate. You see this meter right up here, the blue and the red bars with the heart in the middle. There we go. And the music really kicks in. Those meters are really going to start skyrocketing up towards that big red heart in the middle. There we go. And now they're maxed out, which means we're ready to try our super special love attack. But first, because I have not had any luck in speeding through this first stage, I'm going to go ahead and give both of them a nice hot bath. And make sure I feed them both before I hit that big pink button up there on the bar you can't quite see. We will talk about the hitbox on this bathtub as we go through the run. It does have a hitbox. It's not a very good hitbox. Let me see, you're gonna go right... Oh, no. Okay, I thought you were going right to the fridge. That's fine. Just to save the time. There you go. Make sure they're both well fed.
I'm curious. I'm curious whether we've got any cat parents in the chat, or whether have you had cats yourself, Sushi, or Is this sort of fulfilling a dream playing this game?
I have two cats. We have Frankie
Ah,
and Bella who live inside. You will at some point, I'm sure, hear Frankie, um, because she likes to be heard. And then my mom has adopted quite a few cats who don't come inside, but we feed them outside so they keep coming around. And I think her dream is to have like 1 million cats in the house. We don't have quite the room for all of that.
it's an understandable dream. I admire that.
Our first love attack was successful, so we're done with the first stage. We've helped our two cats become much better friends, or maybe something more. We'll see how that goes as the story progresses, and we can move on to the next stage. But first, there is an unskippable cutscene.
So as far as I've read up on this game, this was some guy's sort of, I think during the course of a year, he in the studio, because I think he worked in music. He'd just recorded sounds that his cats had made, or just, I don't know whether they were his cats or somebody else's, but he'd recorded them over the space of a year or maybe a couple of years, and then put them together into a Christmas album sort of with them. I suppose, I don't know, they weren't really singing, but doing things in tune to Christmas songs. And apparently it was a big hit. I think it was before my time, or I can't remember it. But yeah, interesting backstory, it seems. And I think the strangest thing in terms of reading up on it is that it was a big hit in America, yet this game didn't come out in America.
Correct. This game only came out in Japan. It did not make the leap over. If you're excited from that first song on the set list, you're really gonna like the rest of the set list. But you're not. I guarantee you're not gonna be able to guess what is coming. Let me get through the menu here. The menu boss, Twizzler. There we go. And Clara. And I'm making sure to pick the cats who are a little more finicky and harder to make happy early on, because as we go through the stages, we're going to have one extra cat to deal with on each stage. Oops! Don't use the hammer. You can bonk your kitties if they're being naughty, but they do not like that. It'll drop all their stats by quite a bit. So I've never actually had to hit that button for any reason. That was nice and quick. Yes, I know you're grumpy. It's a new day. There we go.
It seems like we've got a Twizzler fan in the chat. Do you have a particular favorite?
Twizzler is my favorite. Twizzler is the best. Let me get this kitty out of the bath.
Nice.
Before we take a penalty there, because Twizzler's sprite work is just excellent. As soon as they're done playing with the ball, pull the foxtail out again. Yeah, I know it's special. I might get through another, but I want. Oh, they're not playing with it now. They're distracted. But Twizzler's sprite work is great playing with the foxtail, and if you just watch him. He's just so like long and lanky and stringy. He'll do spin moves out for the foxtail. You're not gonna eat if you keep playing with the ducky. Yoink. All right, no issues with the bathtub so far. I hope you got enough. Let's see if we can get. There we go. He really stretches out for this toy. Here. Nope, now you're not interested. That's fine. Let me get you out of the tub. Out of the tub. There we go. See if the second love attack's going to be just as successful as the first one. If you're, I'm going to say your non OTP cats are unhappy, they will interrupt your love attack. If they're jealous or feel like you haven't paid enough attention to them, or if they're hungry, they will interrupt the attack. Or if one of the two cats you have picked is either too hungry or particularly smelly, the love attack will also fail in that situation. As long as you give everybody a little bit of attention, usually it's just like that, a little kitty smooch. This one just melts. So cute. We are 2 for 2 today.
Oh, I love these animations. These sprites are so good. And I feel like it's a style we don't see much more. I know everybody's sort of like, especially bigger games, are focusing more on high fidelity, but I think the fact sort of hand drawn hard pixels, there's something really charming about it. Ooh, now is this the cat that you haven't introduced us to yet?
That is, in fact, the 9th cat of the 8 Jingle Cats. No, there are 9 Jingle Cats. We will not see that particular cat until the very end, but that is Sprocket, kind of lurking around the band, maybe wanting to join, but maybe not wanting to join. Just like a cat, want to come in? No, I want to go outside. No, I'm good. So not too sure what Sprocket's up to quite yet. But want to make friends for all the other kitties. Sprocket will want to make a friend too.
Oh, understandable. We don't want people left alone especially on Christmas.
If you are, I meant to bring this up at the top, but if you're one of those people who participates in Whamageddon each year, you are going to be safe in this stream. That Last Christmas by Wham is not on the set list. That's the only spoiler I'm going to give for the playlist, is that's not on there, and you're going to be fine. There is some holiday music on the set list, though.
That's a very good disclaimer to give. I know a lot of people who'd be very mad if they ended up losing. I think this would be
losing in Jingle Cats. That would be something.
That would be the funniest way to lose, I think. I don't think you can even be mad at that, really.
Now, there are 8 cats, but we are going to do 8 stages. We're not just doing 4 different pairs. For one reason or another, the game will whoever you choose first. Like if you choose the cats in the opposite order, it counts as a separate pair. If that makes any sense. So everybody's going to make at least one friend. But some of our cats are going to make many more than one friends, especially Max and Clara, who kind of get along with everybody and they're easy to take care of and they're not very picky. I usually pick them for as many cats as I can to make friends with, just because that makes raising all the stats a lot easier. If I have to separate them using the bathroom like I am now, they don't get quite as fussy. I see you. Sleeping. Come on. Nice. Okay. And I've unlocked special time. Let me see if I can distract my other cat so they I know, now you're upset with me. It's okay. That blue meter's not quite full. It looks like it is, but it's not quite there yet. I need to clean up a little bit too. Oh, and they're pawing at the fridge. Let's get some food out as well. Speaking of food, you actually have a limited amount of food each day. That's one reason why the game will help keep track of time. That's why you'll see the oven will have a fish baking in it sometimes. That determines when I can give all of my cats this big old bowl of food that constitutes like a full meal for the day for them. Hold on, that's gonna crash if I don't hit the button soon. That's really only going to be an issue in the very later stages, like especially the last stage. It can just take a while to get everybody's stats up to make them happy. And if I feed them too early or they get hungry too early, usually, I might have to wait for the next day cycle to feed them again. Oh, I didn't give everybody a bath. Yeah, I bet that's the issue. I think the starting stats are a little randomized because sometimes you can, if you fill out the meter fast enough, you can just hit the button right away and maybe not even have to feed everybody for that stage or throw them all in the bath. Come on. Ooh, oh, no, you're just unhappy. Oh, no, you're just unhappy with me. I'm so sorry. I didn't give you enough attention. You want more stitches. You want more pets.
Do you find that you sort of go all smoochy voice with the with the cats quite often, or?
Yes, as long as they're not knocking stuff over and scaring each other and playing nice. Because sometimes they do knock. They'll knock a lot of stuff over. There's like a robot or something somewhere in this house that's very, very loud and it gets knocked off the shelf. And we'll usually send all the other cats scattering. But they just want a little extra attention sometime. Ooh, I almost dropped my controller. Ooh. Check this. Let me check the menus real quick. Mash the square button. Let's see. So the top line is the only translation I've got for it is trust. The second line is feeling. The bottom two are hunger and hygiene, which are definitely easier to figure out. I think maybe they all just want a little more scratches. More scratches. The hygiene meters all look fine, but I'll drop a little more food down and drop everybody in the bath real quick, and then I think we'll be good. I think I've still got a snack. Oh no, I got a whole bowl of food. Oh. It's okay. Okay. It's okay. Come back and eat. There you go.
I know that you've talked about making sure that the cats have had a bath and everything, but can they, as well as sort of knocking things around, can they, because from what it looks like, they can't actually go outside, so do they need to, I suppose, do their business inside, or?
That is not a feature in the game. That's not something we have to worry about. It is a very Tamagotchi-like game, but not that particular feature of the game.
Good. I imagine that's something that cat owners will be very relieved about. one gonna work?
There we go.
Nice.
So many of these cutscenes end up happening in front of this bathtub, because it's just a convenient place to kind of focus the speed run. Because if I want to separate the cats, I can put them in the bath, and that's fine. They don't get mad if you put them in the bath, as long as you don't leave them in there too long. So I can separate the cats if I need to. I can feed them there. It's really convenient. I just didn't think that was going to be such a romantic spot, though.
I was about to say, you mean to tell me that you don't do it next to the bathtub because that's the most romantic part of the house? Ooh, another wonderful performance.
There's Sprocket.
Geeky Sprocket.
See, now I have no idea what's coming, because the first two were 1970 classic rock hits, and that is it's in the credits as Kira Kira Bushi, but Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. The playlist is going to skew a little bit younger after this next stage. Just a little bit. There's Cue Ball. Max. So this big orange kitty is Max. And Max is the friendliest cat out of the whole bunch. I believe either the book or the translation guide said he's kind of like the big brother cat to everybody. And the entire speed of the run is going to depend on whether Max wants to live up to that billing or not. Because sometimes Max will just not want to play. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't want to play with the fox. He doesn't want to play with toys. He doesn't really want to do anything. And that makes it hard to get in a special time and start boosting up the love attack meter. Right now, it's Cue Ball, who is just not interested. Okay.
Yeah, as somebody from Britain, this game really speaks out to me because of the weather forecast. We are known as a people who will continually bang on about the weather, and we can't even escape it in this game. That's something for everyone.
I think I just averted a fight there. That looked close. Oh, you're not. You didn't need a bath. Oh, that's okay. You can jump out of the bath then. You guys didn't play with that toy at all, did you? You guys got distracted. Ooh, okay. Spend some time with Petunia so I can pick her up.
So would you say that a lot of this run is sort of to do with RNG and where they'll end up going? I know there's probably sort of characteristics and traits in terms of where they go and what they interact with, but is there... I'd assume that there's a big element of RNG, or am I wrong?
Yes, there's definitely a big element of RNG. Because you can't really control when the cats want to fight or when they want to knock things over, or when they do and don't want to play. There is a lot of RNG in the resource management's not really the right word, but there's a lot of RNG as far as how easy or how quickly the bars will increase and stay maximized when you need them to.
Okay.
And it can be like dominoes falling. When one thing kind of starts going off script, it can lead to a lot of other things going off script. So there really is a lot to just managing your cats. Like I'm trying to get everybody gathered up now because I feel like everybody's just a little unhappy. That seems to be the theme of this particular run. Yep, and look, everybody's Max is gathering by the fridge at least. And if they're hungry enough to start pawing at the fridge, they're not actually going to interact with anything else until you feed them. But as soon as they're done eating, it's going to be time to separate everybody. I need to actually clean up. it's not special time or anything right now. Try and get all of my non-chosen cats, get them a bath, so maybe I can get some alone time for special friends here. You want to be quick though, because I know one of those cats didn't need too much time in the bath. And if you're wondering why, if I can pick up the cats up, why I don't like pick them up and put them on the same screen, that would be much faster. But they don't like being picked up. They'll it will lower their stats every time you do that if you do it without a reason. Oh wait, that's not, that's the wrong button. Can you come play with your friend and the toy that's no longer here? Oh boy. What happened to the special time, huh? I keep getting it and they just don't want to play. The toy's even on cooldown. There we go. The other way you can kind of keep your cats separated is to pet them. Once, no, I'm petting Petunia. Petunia's not going to move anywhere. There we go.
What I'd like to see is a sequel for this game that sort of takes advantage of a microphone, and to sort of lure the cats together, you have to go. Pss, pss. I'm sure there's a market for that. I'm sure there is.
There is. I do think if like, I have a list of games I know will never be remade, but I wish they would be, and this was on it. Because I think you could do a lot with this concept and these characters.
Oh, totally, yeah.
I got fed. To clean up. Let's see how this love attack goes. I would pull up the menu to look, but you have to load in the menus and then unload the menus and load the game back in. It does take a little bit of time.
Oh, wow.
So the goal is to get all of our cats to not maximum stats, but to a point where they're all happy enough, and to get the 2 cats we have chosen to become friends for this stage, they need to become the bestest of friends. You can tell just those 2 by the meter at the top when we get back in the game. And when they're really good friends and all the other cats are happy enough, I'll let them do this special love attack. We are moving on to the next stage.
Oh, was Max the yellow one in that situation?
Yes.
Oh, he's very shy about it.
Okay.
Yes, oh, you just gotta love these animations. They're just so classy.
Look at that strut.
Yeah, you work it, you work it. I'm gonna need a reminder. Who's the main vocalist in this one? The black and white cat.
That is Grammar.
Nice. Ooh, then Sprocket cameo, of course.
Stage 5. Cheese Puff and Cheese Puff doesn't want to make friends with any of the really easygoing cats, maybe because they're already friends. But Grammar by far is the hardest cat to make friends with. Grammar is and I believe the book calls her a bit of a diva. She doesn't really want to make friends with anybody. She's very picky. If like the hygiene meter's anything less than 100%, She wants nothing to do with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I know a lot of people sort of do the best that they can to try and get their particular characters into games, but I just wonder when Cheese Puff is going to be on the Smash roster, you know? we want Jingle Cats for Super Smash Brothers. That's all I'm saying. What would their final Smash be? It would probably be the Love Attack, wouldn't it?
It would be the Love Attack, and I bet all the other cats would also show up for that.
Oh, I really want to see that now.
Here. Yeah, I know, Max. It's okay. That ding was well timed, but I'm pretty sure the TV doesn't go ding when you turn it off. Yay, okay. Good. I'll tell you what has been well behaved today is this bathtub. I haven't really been able to talk about it because the hitbox has cooperated. But where are you going? Where are you going? We were just playing. I know. And now the toy's gone. Now the toy's despawning. But there's actually a pretty small hitbox for that bathtub as far as when you try to put your cat down, whether or not they'll land in the tub or whether they'll just land next to the tub and wonder why you're picking them up and moving them around for no reason. The other thing you have to be careful is if you have a bunch of cats in the tub and you're trying to get them out, you can like rapid fire mash the button, but if you do it too quickly, you will drop the cat and then grab it in midair and then drop it again. And that will tank your love stats. They'll just bottom out very quickly if you're not careful with that. It's hilarious to see. And they yell, oh, do they yell when you manage to pull that off. But it is not conducive to a good speedrun time. Stay, just stay. The meter's almost full. Yep, okay, somebody's hungry. Somebody's hungry, okay. Let me get this meter full, and then... Oh, no, everybody's hungry, okay. Ooh, I didn't mean to throw its plate so far. So when this screen appears when the room is vacuuming, obviously you can't interact with anything, but it does that in the demo too. I just realized that today when I was getting ready for this. If the demo reel vacuums, you can't hit start to start the game or anything. You have to wait for the vacuuming to finish. Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. I said, hold on. Wait. Oh, you're just ignoring me. You know what? I don't think I've gotten you a bath yet anyway.
And with the vacuuming, does that just sort of eliminate distractions and get things away from the cats, or does it do a little more than that?
Yeah, anything that's been knocked over, it will clean it up. It puts everything back where it's supposed to be. Cleans up any messes on the oven and stuff like that. At the cost of obviously stopping you from being able to play for a little bit. Because a lot of the things you can actually just pick them up and put them back yourself. But that does take a little. Oh, the meter wasn't full. I forgot the meter wasn't full. Well, let's let's see what happens then. Meter wasn't quite full.
So is the cleaning a requirement before you can do the special love attack, or is it just something that's part of keeping the cats in order?
It's just part of keeping the cats in order, especially when I feed them. I usually like to clean up then because they're not going to be playing or anything at that moment anyway.
Okay.
And the food bowl has a really long timer before it despawns. I think the stats are high enough to make up for the bar not being full. Look at that.
Oh.
Look out with that, because we'd just taken care of them, I suppose, so that was also helpful. cheese puff and cue ball. We're on to the next stage. On our next music video.
Ooh, let's go. Now, sadly, on my end, I'm not actually getting to hear any of this. I feel quite sad.
Oh no.
I find it quite amusing that it only says Chris in the background. Shoutouts to Chris, whoever they are.
Or Sprocket. I think this is the longest music video in the on the set list. But this song is called Christmas Eve by Tatsuhiro Yamashita. All of the songs are listed in the credits, but before I realized all the songs are listed in the credit, I spent a long time trying to figure out what this one was. Because the only thing I kept finding was Christmas Eve off of a Justin Bieber album, and I knew just from how time works that couldn't have been it. It took a little bit to track that one down.
I bet Justin Bieber was inspired by Jingle Cats, though. I have a feeling that that's probably, well, that's my headcanon that I'm going to go for.
And if you are just joining us, the first half of the set list, because we're on to the back half now. The set list started with Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. We had The Stranger by Billy Joel. Kiri Hirohoshi, which is better known as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star here in the States. And then Madonna's smash hit Like a Virgin was the stage prior to Christmas Eve. Come here. She was at least playing nice, so we can all play together right now, but Max is just not interested. Here we go.
So when it comes to a speedrun, are there any cats that are particular sort of troublemakers? Are there any? Who's the big run killer amongst the cast, amongst the band?
Grammar tends to be the worst. Sprocket is also. Sprocket's definitely the final boss.
Oh, okay.
Because not there. When we get to the stage, we can talk about that a little more. But Sprocket is definitely the final boss of the run. If this game has something that could be called a final boss. Mew. Ooh, okay. Well, hold on then. Gotcha. No. I know. No. See, if you watch the meters on the top, if there's other cats interfering, sometimes the meter will go the wrong way. But I know I can't pick up Grammar right now, so I'm just trying to pad the stats a little bit until I can everybody a little more separated. That worked out well. See, now Max doesn't want to play, and that's also not gonna. Oh, Max is hungry at the start of every stage today. Max is a hungry boy today. As much as there's RNG in this one, I do feel like sometimes each run has a theme of something that seems consistent across all of the stages. And in this one, it's that Max wants to eat super early every stage. So just because, just off the gut feeling, I think instead of making Max Sprocket's friend, we'll make Clara Sprocket's friend, because that's going to be a real big time loss if I have to feed a kitty right away in the last stage. Nice, okay. Come on. Yeah! Play. There we go. The toys are all, as far as your stats go, all really the same. Obviously, all have different movement physics. And as bouncy as that ball is, it kind of stays in place, which was nice because they were really well isolated here. I didn't have to worry about any of the other cats coming in to take any of the playtime away. I think I'm going to do that again. Nope. Turn around. I don't know what everybody else is doing. This is kind of the kids are really quiet. What are they up to up their situation? And yes, there's stuff all over the floor. We got our love meters maxed out. That's the important thing. Now we can start to clean up and give everybody their head pats. Everybody got fed. Yeah, everybody got fed because we fed early. Meow. 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 All right, as soon as they're done in the tub. Nice, okay. Come back here. Nope, see, you were getting ready to get into trouble. And see, like, I tried to put Claire in the bathroom, and apparently I missed. There we go. I've missed somebody. I've missed somebody with a bath, and rather than guess, whose bath did I miss? Cue ball, okay. And it's really not that low, but oh yes, I know. Something fell down and broke and someone needs to clean it up. I wonder how that happened. Oh, and now look what I've done. The cat in front needs to be in the bath. The other two need to leave. No! Come on. Okay, that gave me a little bit. There we go. That gave me a little bit more room. Let me clean up. I want to hit this button before something happens to make the meter go down. Good. Helicopter spin, that's good. I was expecting somebody to walk up and interrupt the love attack there for a second, but we're good.
That sort of twisting, like spinning animation is brilliant. I love that. Was that Binky who did that one?
I forgot this song was next. I'm sorry. So, there's something special about the song. I'm gonna not talk over and see if you can pick out what it is. Aside from Sprocket being really intimidating there, no, that is the one time on this entire soundtrack that a human feels the need to get involved with the singing. The only time. And it's simply to drop an a cappella. 2 stages left. Got 2 more cats I gotta make friends for. One of which is Clara. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's not mash the menu too quickly there. So Clara and Max, if I have my Jingle Cats look correctly, were together in real life. They're the official couple of Jingle Cats. So for stage 7, we'll have Clara make friends with Max, and then for stage 8, we'll have Max make friends with Clara because they get along very well anyway. So I'm usually not too worried about these last 2 stages as far as my OTP cats are concerned. It's managing everybody else in the house. See, special time already. Drop the ball. Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. Nice. Stay over there, Twizzler. Leave them alone. And see, just like that, it's already full, and I'm gonna shoot my shot.
Ooh, let's see if it works.
Either on this stage or stage 8, I have like a 90-second gold split, which is ridiculous. It was just like that, got in, it filled up automatically, and everybody started with high enough stats.
Oh, wow.
For it to go. No, not today. That's fine.
Ah.
No such luck today. Whichever split it is, I'm never gonna beat that gold split. Oh. Because you need all, was it 6 or 7 cats now? You need all of their RNG to be exactly what you need. Let's get everybody in the tub. All together now. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Oh, okay. So Twizzler's not happy. Kramer's not happy. Nobody's happy. All right, all right, all right. Everybody's nice and clean, though. Who is happy? You know what? We need to get everybody together anyway, because everybody's kind of in a little bit of a grumpy mood. Everybody's going to come and eat. And it'll fill out the hunger meter, so we should be good to go with that. Not everybody. Is that everybody? It feels like that can't be everybody. I guess that is everybody. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow. No, 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 no. I misclicked, but if I don't put you in the tub, I'm gonna take a penalty. Ooh, kind of like that. I don't trust it. I don't trust the pixel. I know, and you're probably already maxed out, huh? I don't see any more suds. Everybody out. I know, I'm sorry, Max. That was a little bit... Oh, I did the thing! Oh, goodness. Okay.
Is Max all right?
Sorry, Max. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was the pinchy hand and not the petty hand. I'm so sorry. Oh no.
Bless you, Max. We didn't mean it. We didn't mean it.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
Poor lad. I hope he recovers from it.
Where is Cue Ball? Maybe Cue Ball just didn't get picked for this stage. Because the extra cats are also random. So I'm thinking Cue Ball just didn't get picked. Max is always so shy. No.
bless him.
Boom, 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 ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
All right, let's see what the song's gonna be. Oh wow, a tropical theme. That's quite a change of scenery.
They have a lot of fun on this beach.
I mean, hey, I would like a Christmas around the Jingle Cats place. I'm not gonna lie. Seems like they have a great time.
They do. They really do have fun.
I wish that were me. Rocket's
too cool for school over here.
I was about to say, eerie sort of human proportions. Those legs sort of scared me a little bit.
Yeah. All right, one more. Got to make friends for. Well, two more. One more and then Sprocket. I keep forgetting Sprocket's also a cat. You just, even though Sprocket's the final boss, shouldn't say one more cat left. Oh. Wow. Dude, these two get along so well. Duck's gonna go, wants to go, but I think we're good. I'm trying to keep the duck on the screen, but I don't want to open the menu, but I want to keep Twizzler occupied up there. You know what? I'm at least gonna feed everybody. Bring everybody in the bath. That's everybody, right? There's Cue Ball. there he is. Cue Ball's cute too. They're all cute. Twizzler's my favorite. Twizzler's sprites are so funky.
Cue Ball seems like a bit of a, maybe not a mischief, but a bit of a sort of a sneaky cat to me. I don't know.
Wait. There you are, Max. Gotcha. Yeah, Cue Ball can be a little bit of a prankster. Yes.
I also find it interesting how much, like, most of the cats don't actually mind having a bath. I know that's something that people sort of usually associate with cats not really liking water, but it's like they don't mind it here.
No, as long as you don't leave them in there too long. If you leave them in there too long, they get quite grumpy. But otherwise, they don't seem to mind it. So cute.
I thought he was about to cough up a furball, and I thought, oh no, can we show this? I'm glad it was only a love heart.
All right, just one more cat left in the run. We need to make friends for Sprocket. Going in. Well, I'll let the music video play, and then we'll talk about the last stage. Meow, 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 meow. Just settlers all over the place. Now we're at Swan Lake.
Of course we are. Of course that was the next logical step.
Look, somebody left the door open. Sprocket's thinking about it. Thinking about it. Hey.
When he comes.
So for this last stage, in addition to all the cats going to be in the house at the same time, everybody's stats are going to start quite low. I mean, everything's just. No, we're gonna do Claire. We're gonna use Claire today. Everything's just a little bit worse. I'm not really sure the right way to put it, but the house is gonna get dirtier quicker. The cats are going to be more likely to knock stuff over. They're gonna get hungrier faster.
So it's sort of like a pinch stage. Everything's sort of.
Yes. You also get some really cool music though.
Ooh.
See, and they're already fighting. Stop! I can't. Got the wrong thing. Nope. Nope. Now you're mad at me. But you're not fighting. No. Okay. Oops, hold on. Turn the meter off. There we go. Yes, I know they're not very happy with each other at all. I know. Yep. Yeah, that was mean. That was not a nice thing you did. And now you're just ignoring me, petting you too. I'm going to let mostly everything else. Oh, wow. And then you fall asleep. You really are. Total package today, Sprocket.
Come on, Sprocket, you gotta help us out.
I'm going to let mostly everything else go until I get Sprocket to the point where he lets me pick him up and interact with him a little bit. And then I'll start working on getting everybody else a little bit more taken care of. The other thing I'm keeping an eye on right now is Clara's meter, that non-existent red bar there on the top. I have had only in one run, and I hope never to see it again. I evidently, I don't know if it's overflowed or underflowed, but the bar went to maximum, like negative, and it would just never, I could never increase it. Because I had to let that run go. That was a live run. I had to let that run go because it was over estimate. But I played for like another half an hour off stream and just never got the bar to fill up.
Oh, wow.
So I'm always keeping an eye on it. Because I don't know how I managed to do that, but it only happened once. I did see the bar move though, so I think we're okay right now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's moving. It's not gonna move much until we can really spend some quality time here. There we go. Now it's going the right way. Everybody else has gone off to sleep. As soon as another cat got involved. Hold on. You're hungry, aren't you? That's why you're going up on the fridge. All right. Everybody's probably getting hungry, but let's see what I can do before I drop the food. Because like I said, I don't want to drop it too early, especially on this stage. No, but everybody's at that point.
I just out the corner of my eye, it looked like there was sort of band posters up on the wall.
There are band posters.
The Nyax pistols. That looked like one of them. What was the other one?
Yep, Nyax Pixels.
The rolling Nyans, I think. That's brilliant. I love it.
Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. No, stop that. Right, let's see if I can pick everybody up now. Who I was aiming for, but we'll make it work. Hey, I was able to pick Sprocket up. Come here. Oh, and see, one of them didn't come over and eat soon enough. Let me see if I got a snack. I do. Hopefully that will be enough. I'm sorry. I got the tail of the hitbox there. It looked like. No. Go away. Nope. Come here. All right. You're not gonna play because you're too busy eating. Let them play. Come on, come on. Yes, yes, yes. Go, 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 go. All right. Got one bowl of food. That should get everybody well fed. Make sure everybody gets a chance to come and eat. Oops, I think I missed. Here we go. Enter the tub. Everybody into the tub. Oh, see, that's what I mean. The hitbox on the tub is really quite unique. Come here.
I imagine if you do it too high, you also put them on the windowsill, sort of above.
Yeah, you can put them on the windowsill. You can put them on the side of the tub. You can put them on the floor.
Ah, yeah. It looks like there's quite a tight margin, and especially I imagine the way that you're controlling this is with a normal, like, original PlayStation 1 controller.
I was trying to get Kramer. All right, let's hit this button. I don't think I'm gonna get Kramer out in time here, but that's okay.
Alrighty, we got to bless this one.
Come on, come on, come on.
Let's see.
We got fed, everybody got a bath. That's good. That's also good.
Promising.
Smooch, there it is. That's gonna be time. There we go. It's only a little bit over the estimate today, fortunately, but that live stage actually went a little bit better than it usually goes. I think I lost a lot of time on that first Max and Clara run, but I know we can't stay too long. We are on a tight schedule, but there's one last music video here, and it is Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf as the congratulations appears and the credits roll. But thank you for inviting me to show off Jingle Cats. Hope everybody had fun watching the game, seeing a different kind of game, as well as the unique set list. If you buy Jingle Cats merch and albums, you will find none of these songs in any of the albums. You can only get these songs here on this game. So definitely the worthwhile reason to pick this game up, just for the unique music, not available anywhere else.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, the most wholesome of GGs. I love that that's the ending for this game. It's so, so good. Is there any sort of shout outs that you'd like to do? I know that this game isn't sort of the most popular speed game out there, but do you have any sort of recommendations or ways to pick up the game?
It's a pretty simple game to pick up as far as like the, your routing, your strategies go. As far as getting a physical copy of the game, if you want to play it on original hardware, you do need a Japanese PlayStation, or some other way to play Japanese PlayStation games on another console, however that may be. But it was only released in Japan. Obviously, you're going to need your original Japanese PlayStation for that. No digital release, nothing like that. That's really the only way to go as far as hardware is concerned, unfortunately. But I'd love to have more people pick this game up. I picked it up. I saw it first as a Cristo Grande match. Then picked it up as a 12-hour challenge because it was just so fun and unique.
Nice. I'm definitely raising my hand because, like I said, I promised to do it, and I'm really glad that we've got to have this run on, and I feel like I've learned a whole lot more. So thank you so much for running it. I know that if time calls on you, you might be around during AGDQ 2022.
Yes, I am on backup for Chicory Colorful Tale, which is legitimately one of my favorite games of all time now. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in the marathon. No matter who runs it, that's going to be a lot of fun to see that on the big screen. That's also a very unique game. This game's unique in its music choice. That game is unique in its gameplay mechanic, where it's centered around artistry and manipulating a brush and drawing. So lots of unique and fun games out there outside of the mainstream with different ways to stretch your gaming fingers, for sure.
Brilliant. Well, for those of you who are interested, AGDQ 2022 will be starting on January the 9th. So make sure if you're interested in seeing what games are going to be happening, what's going to be run, then you can visit gamesdonequick.com for more information and detailed dates on when things are happening. But for now, Shikichi, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun, and everybody,
Thanks for having me.
And everybody, please do stick around because we have got some more festive action. The next one's a little bit tenuous. Maybe it could have done with being on the Halloween specials that we had a couple of weeks ago, but we're gonna let it slide. We have got A Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King, coming up, courtesy of Holiday With Us. So don't go away. We have got a whole lot more to come. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Going Places. We just had an incredible run of Jingle Cats. If you missed that, then I strongly recommend having a look at the Games Done Quick main sort of YouTube channel where we'll upload the full VOD of this whole show. And we have also got a GDQ Summer Best Segments channel where we put the highlights of the show into a nice little short form video so that you can see how our runners have been popping off and what they've been doing. But that was Jingle Cats, and we are now moving over to a game that I thought was a little bit tenuous for fitting into a Christmas special, but like I said, we're rolling with it anyway. So this is Holiday With Her with, I'm going to full name it because we've been memeing about the full name, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King for the GBA.
Yep, that is right. This is Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King. I'm Holiday With Her. That's the Fragrance Dark Coffee alongside me, and there's not much to say, so we're just gonna hop right into it and get to where we start the timer. So we just hop into the game before we kick things off, and then we'll explain what's happening. So, without further ado, let's start the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin.
Good luck.
So with that, the presence of the game is as, quote, bugs are terrorizing Halloween Town, and it is up to Jack to set things right for the first time, because this is a prequel to the events of the movie That You See that released in 1997, if I remember correct. Hopefully that is the right year the movie came out. But very basic premise, and we go from there.
Yeah, terrorizing is kind of a strong word. Mostly the bugs just kind of hang out. They're not really doing anything.
Yes, and we got the frog gun, which is our first weapon, and we will refrain from using it for quite a bit in the early part of the game. We will just jump over the bugs and let them live.
It turns out there are very few mandatory enemies that you have to kill overall. There are some which are faster, but it is usually better to simply jump over or damage boost through them, with a few exceptions.
So right here, we're gonna pick up one of the first HP upgrades, which are Shrunken Skulls. Shrunken Skulls are the HP ups in this game.
Generally speaking, we don't go out of our way to get extra upgrades most of the time. That one is an exception because it is so barely out of the way and allows us to very easily damage boost through a few more things than we otherwise would have. It also makes things generally safer. In really early versions of this run, we didn't get that skull, and there were some segments that could be kind of dangerous if you have one less health bar.
That is correct, and right now we're moving on to the first boss that is terrorizing Halloween Town, the Spider.
The Spider is a relatively straightforward boss. Frankly, not a whole lot going on. It's gonna go by real fast, so keep an eye on it. It has 4 very quick phases. The first, it comes down and does nothing. Here's the first one here. Then it's going to release some minions. Then it's going to shoot some webs at us, and that's pretty much the fight.
Yep, very simple, very basic, but we're at the start of the game, so it needs to start out very simple so we have a grasp of how the game controls and how it plays.
Fun fact, although this is never needed in the speedrun, you can mash the frog gun 30 times per second in midair. You can hit it every other frame. But the way that enemies take damage in this game, which is on fixed intervals, that is never necessary.
So as we are wrapping up the Spider, well, first we have Jack, who does a dance after every boss fight, as you will see here. But Dark, would you like to explain why I'm going to be hopping a lot throughout this whole run?
Well, the interesting thing about this game's momentum system is on the ground, on flat ground, running is faster. But if you're going up a slope, hopping is faster. So that's one of the reasons that we hop a lot. The other is that there is almost no reason to ever use your weapon on the ground. So generally speaking, every time you want to shoot, if you are walking and you push the shoot button, Jack will stop moving to shoot the gun. But if you do so in midair, you lose no forward momentum. So it's essentially never optimal to actually fire your weapon on the ground outside of a few very niche circumstances that we'll see as we come along. But most of the time, you're just going to be sort of lightly hopping and gunning down bugs on your way as we bounce between each of the major boss fights.
Yep, so moving on story-wise, we are currently coming to Jack's house because Zero is nowhere to be found, and you just saw Lock, Shock, and Barrel there, and they are up to their mischievous tricks, and it seems that they might have something to do with all these bugs that are appearing, and also to the disappearance of pretty much everyone in Halloween Town.
Yeah, well, you're going to encounter a couple of NPCs on the way, mostly there to just provide you with an upgrade or occasionally some context. But we don't do a whole lot of chatting in this game. There's not a lot of necessary text boxes.
Yes. There are only few necessary text boxes that you must read that the game requires you to pass through.
I'm going to take a moment here to mention that platform you just jumped on, which is a disappearing platform. These don't appear in very many places in the game, but they're going to be crucial, I suspect, for later versions of this speedrun. A recently discovered glitch, not yet implemented into the main run, is ledge warping, which is a bit of a strange one. So you'll notice that as you hang out on these disappearing platforms, after a brief period of time, they crumble. Now, if you try to climb up a platform on almost the exact frame it crumbles, the game has to decide where you should actually climb up to. And it turns out it stores the previous location of the last ledge you climbed in a register that it then checks for such an occasion. And each room stores its X and Y coordinates independently. So if in the first room you climb a ledge up at, for example, position 3030 in space, and then you go to the next room and try to climb a ledge as it disappears, it'll put you in that room's 3030. Where this will lead, we don't yet know. This is an actively pursued part of the speedrun routing, and if you're interested in that kind of thing, this is a good game to explore on.
Oh, wow.
That is right.
That does sound incredible. That's a really interesting. I don't know. Granted, I'm not the most knowledgeable in a wide range of speedruns, but that seems like quite a niche, like, I don't know, a property of a game.
It's certainly unlike any other game I've seen speedruns for. It's a very unusual consequence of the way this game handles its collisions and being removed hitboxes. There's a few other places where exploring in that zone, but the most obvious is ledge warping, which we suspect can, at the very least, teleport you into a wall. And we don't know what happens when you get teleported into a wall yet.
We will find out eventually. But what you just saw was one of what we call the F-Zero sections, haha, because they are treated like F-Zero sections from the game F-Zero. In it, you cannot move faster or slower. You are set at a certain speed, and it is just trying to make Zero avoid all the obstacles in the way. You can go slower by bonking into obstacles, so you don't want to do that. You want to avoid every obstacle as fast as possible and make sure that you're going at optimal speeds there.
We are so far bonkless. Keep that in mind. Now, I think we have a bit of time before we get to the next major section of tech. I think this would be a good time to talk about the history of the speedrun, which I think is kind of an interesting story. So, in 2020, in the summer of 2020, I had a realization. I was just sort of, looking around speedruns and thought, I wonder what the speedrun of Nightmare Before Christmas The Pumpkin King is, that 2005 Game Boy Advance Metroidvania I played as a teenager. I wonder what that looks like. And I went onto speedrun.com and there was no page for it. And I thought, well, that's all right. I guess I'm going to have to do the speedrun myself. So I got my setup all going. I got a Game Boy player for my GameCube. I got my cartridge up and ready and I ran the speedrun and I did the whole thing. And I went to speedrun.com and I said, here's my speedrun. Here's the categories. Here's the setup. I think that this game should be on the website. And I waited back for a response. About a week later, I got an email from speedrun.com. And they said, your page request has been rejected, which was surprising. I looked at the reasoning, and the reasoning said, a page for this already exists. I said, no, it doesn't. So I went onto the website, and I took a look, and sure enough, less than a week after I submitted mine, Holiday Wither had done exactly the same thing that I had, and had a slightly better time.
That's
so
hilarious.
His page became the speedrun page for the basis, and I have been in second place since the inception of this game.
That was not intended whatsoever. It's just how it managed to work out. But right now, we're picking up the second weapon, the Bat Boomerang, but we like to call it the Batarang because it flows more nicely off the tongue. It is, as the name implies, it is a boomerang that does not return to you. It is just a projectile weapon that shoots straight out, either in front of you or above you, depending on how you are activating, and almost missed that jump right there because I keep forgetting this is the first use of the activation of the Batarang.
The Batarang occupies a sort of strange space in this game's arsenal because it frankly is not used very much. It has a few unique properties which make it occasionally useful. The fact that you can fire it directly up on the ground is unique to the Batarang, and it travels farther than any other non-ammo weapon, so it's used to hit a few distant switches. We're also going to be seeing it in this boss fight, who is immune to the frog gun, which, generally speaking, does more damage and will be our go-to weapon for the entirety of the run whenever we have an opportunity to do so. Now, we need to hit this boss 10 times with Batarangs. We have 3 on the first cycle there, that's pretty good. An optimal version of this boss takes about 3 or 4 cycles, and depending on how he behaves, we'll see how well he wants to do that. He has only a few attacks. If we're lucky, we'll avoid his invincible fire attack, which will cause a section of the arena here. We didn't even see it. Good job.
Good snake.
Good snake. Good, very good snake.
Also, just to be aware,
pretty good.
This snake is not the snake from the movie, so if you enjoy that present-eating snake, don't worry, that snake is completely unharmed. This
Unrelated
is bad snake.
As opposed to the other snake who tried to eat a child, and I suppose must be, as comparison, good snake? So we've now exited the Finkelstein portion here. We have the Batarang. We're not going to be seeing it a lot for the rest of the run. Now that we are just sort of backtracking, we are on our way to Pumpkin Patch. Pumpkin Patch is going to be where we get our next weapon, the Exploding Pumpkin, after a series of short trials, which we will explain as we go. The pumpkin can be thought of as a bit of an analog to the missiles in Super Metroid, in that their primary purpose is opening doors. Unlike the missiles in Super Metroid, though, they don't do substantially more damage than the frog gun, take longer to fire, and are not generally as flexible in where you can hit things. So we don't use them in combat very often. They have only one particularly useful property, in that you can shoot them directly up like a Batarang, but they do more damage than Batarang. We'll see that in exactly one boss fight later on, which we will point to as we get to it.
Yes.
Pumpkin Patch 1 is also the first kind of dangerous part of the run if you're a new player. A few of the enemies do a surprising amount of damage, and perhaps to flummox the new speedrunner, a random amount of damage. There are certain enemies who can do anywhere from a measly 1 pip to a massive 4, which is most of a health bar. So if you're not paying close attention, you can just sort of die in Pumpkin Patch 1.
Yes, and as we go through Pumpkin Patch, this is the start of learning that a lot of objects, such as ladders and ledges, can in fact be skipped and are not necessary in order to complete the game.
As you play this game and learn it, you'll realize that Jack is really quite astonishingly tall. He can get onto ledges that you probably suspect you can't by just holding up under them and climbing on top of them, and he can grab onto ladders similarly. He can reach really far above himself. This is really useful for a lot of small routing things. There are just a lot of different ledges that you can skip, which you saw at the very beginning of the game and you'll continue to see for the rest of the game. But in situations like this, it means you can skip 70% of the ladders and just go take the one near the end.
Efficiency.
This is one of those random enemies that can do more or less damage to you. For context, I realize that we are not reading any of the text boxes, but these are 3 sort of parasite creatures, which are infecting a large pumpkin, which is currently besmirching the good face of Corpse Kid, which we need to rescue him so he can give us a minigame, which sounds like a joke, but is not. We need him to give us that minigame to advance the plot.
That is very true. Minigames advance plot in this game.
We don't have any Donkey Kong 64-like routing yet, where we intentionally go into the minigames yet, but we do receive 3 of them. They're not very good.
That is true. One is better than others, but sadly you will not see any mention of those video games in the minigames in this run. Excuse me.
Now, the present assembly one with the bats and the rats is okay, but they're not great.
And also, you will see a lot of damage boosting through this game. Damage boosting is a main part of this run, which allows you to get through a lot of areas quicker, but it also makes a lot of areas very dangerous at the same time. It's a double-edged sword.
I will note here a very strange property of this game, and if you begin to speedrun this game, you'll notice it has a lot of those. The strangest property, perhaps, if you're a speedrunner, is that enemies have fixed drops. They don't have a 100% drop rate, but every enemy only drops one thing, and you can know ahead of time what that one thing is. So you can route into that, route different drops of health. If you're feeling like you need health, you can kill specific enemies and get health drops, and with a very high rate of success, or ammunition for pumpkins. You just sort of get a second feeling for this, a second nature idea of where all these drops go, an instinct as you progress. You can see now Corpse Kid has been rescued from the pumpkin.
But, oh no, Corpse Kid has been captured again.
Oh, Shock, Lock, and Barrel got to him right in that cutscene. We just barely missed it.
Yep. But look what we have. We have the pumpkin bombs. And also another sunken skull.
This is the next weapon upgrade, and it's going to be a while before we get the next one. The next one's going to be this game's version of the Shine Spark, and we are also going to get it in Pumpkin Patch when we come back here later. So here we are. We have explosive pumpkins now. They open doors, and they don't really do a lot else. And here's the doors. One small note about pumpkins: like other weapons in this game, it is almost always faster to throw them in the air. If you throw them on the ground, there's this slow animation of lifting it and throwing it down. This is live, Mr. Kurowi, I see your chat. And that takes a long time. But if you're doing it while you're running forwards, you can throw the pumpkin. This also has a very strange interaction with the game's physics. So, a weird property of pumpkins is that they inherit your momentum. So if you're running forward and leaping forward and you throw a pumpkin, the pumpkin will go faster forwards. Likewise, if you're drifting backwards, you can throw a pumpkin with almost no forward momentum. This is useful maybe literally once, because generally speaking, all you need to do is tap and jump really quick, toss a pumpkin, and then it'll go in front of you, you'll land, you'll cancel the animation for the pumpkin, and you'll just keep going.
Also, did we mention that hitboxes are wonky? Because yes,
Oh, they're-
hitboxes are wonky.
Oh, they're so strange. It is so weird in a lot of different ways.
So many
you can
ways we could explain this for a long time.
You can bang your shins on things that you never thought were dangerous. You can bonk your head on things you didn't expect to. This section can be a bit of a pain in the butt because you need 11 pumpkins, 10 for this room and 1 later on. And if the drops in the previous room are not behaving properly, then you have to go backwards and get them. Thankfully,
Yes.
if you have a good idea and a good instinct for which enemies drop pumpkins, then it isn't going to be much of a problem.
That is right. Dark has a better understanding of drops in this game more than I do. Overall, I just get lucky for most of my runs.
Yeah, that's true. You got very lucky on a lot of your drop runs. It's going pretty well. So far, your resources are okay. So
Yes, resources
knock
as
on
of
wood.
now are in good shape, and we aren't really in any worry whatsoever. Here you will see Corpse Kid, who has been shoved into a box. We will free him in a second.
Yeah, that's why you need the 11th pumpkin. You can only open the box with an explosion. And as we get down here, we're going to slowly start shifting our way to the next portion of the game. We're going to be going back to Halloween Town, I think.
We are going to Graveyard first.
Oh, I always forget about Graveyard 1.
Oh, Graveyard 1. We always forget about it, but it does exist, and there's no way to get around it.
It's not... I don't know why I always forget about it. It has a whole boss fight in it. But I, no, yeah.
For reference, we are now moving on to another F-Zero section, and you see this section? Remember it. You'll see it 2 more times, 1 time in reverse.
Yes, you can use these sections on either way as a sort of quasi-fast travel between 2 points.
I
say,
bonked.
now, no longer bonkless.
No bonkless
R.I.P.
run.
bonkless run.
Yep.
I say quasi-fast travel because these don't get any faster, you just have to do them backwards. So you really have to assess, and we've timed it out. Yes, it is basically always faster to take the F-Zero run than it is to run manually. So yeah, you just kind of get used to doing this and remember the route forwards and backwards, and you do back and forth a couple of times. On our way to Graveyard 1, you may begin to notice another strange thing. This is a Metroidvania in its structure. You get a series of upgrades. Those upgrades allow you to reach new sections you previously couldn't in areas you've already been, but the upgrades are extremely contextual. So, in this section, for example, we're going to get a stretchy ghost, who I always like to call Wilt, who allows us to reach up really high and grab on a set of monkey bars to get into sections we previously couldn't. If you had a real keen eye, you would have seen one of these small ghost panels in Pumpkin Patch 1. Now, the strange thing about it though, right? You can't use these outside of anywhere where the panels show up. And in fact, you'll see this come up again and again. Later, we're going to get, when we go back to Halloween Town, a sort of morph ball that you can't use anytime. You can only use in
Also,
context-specific places.
I'd like to mention that in this section, you're supposed to use the ghost, but these tombstones are in perfect locations that you can just skip using the intended feature you're supposed to and just grab the ledges yourself.
Yeah, relying on the ghost cycles is almost never what you want to do, and if you're not paying close attention or you get bad timing, they can get really out of sync with each other and kind of mess up the routing.
And also, just to mention, someone asked if the F-Zero sections are random or always the same pattern. They are indeed always the same pattern.
You can memorize it, but you don't really have to. If you have good reflexes, you can basically
Yes.
just pay attention. They're not that hard. So coming up, we're going to have our next boss fight. Also, anyone who wants to pick up this game, I encourage you to check it out. You could have the easiest 3rd place of your life because there are literally only 2 runners for this game. It's Wither and me. But
Yep,
it's
so
also
if you want
very...
an easy 3rd place, no matter how long your time is, it's yours.
As long as you're not cheating, it'll get validated.
Exactly.
So, it's also really easy to learn the route because the game puts big arrows everywhere, and you just have to follow them. We're going to be coming up on the next boss fight. It's a large grasshopper, and the large grasshopper is also pretty quick. All the boss fights in this game, once you learn them, are pretty darn fast. And a small note, before every boss fight, if you're ever feeling like you need health, there's always the same enemy. It's a large bug with an arrow pointing you to the boss fight. Now, until literally today, we thought that that bug had a 100% drop rate for big health, a large fishbone, which always drops 1 full health bar. But it turns out it's actually not a 100% drop rate, it's just an extremely high drop rate.
I learned that the hard way in a practice run earlier today.
Turns out, yeah, although drop rates in this game are fixed, they're not 100%. They're just most of the time.
They are fixed for a certain percent of a time.
If you want to do some science and figure out what that percent is, go right ahead.
Go right ahead. So we did just pick up the stretchy ghost. You saw Jack stretch. You will see him stretch one more time. He most likely has been drinking a lot of milk because his bones are probably very strong to be stretching that much.
Look at the size of those bones.
Yes.
All right, here we up. Next boss fight here, and there we go. Got the health.
Health acquired.
Not a whole lot to do in this fight. Older versions of this route tried to use pumpkins until we realized that pumpkins basically don't do more damage than your regular gun. So now we basically just try to hit the head with the frog gun as quickly as possible. And in another instance of how strange the hitboxes are, both for this fight and in general, oh yeah, that's right, he really doesn't want to behave. We actually want to get grabbed because that moves him closer to the next sequence.
Getting grabbed is better. You wouldn't think getting hit is good, but getting hit is actually important.
We have almost all the health we're going to have in the entire game at this point, so damage boosting in this fight is easy, and the frog gun's hitbox is so large, combined with the grasshopper's head hitbox being so large, that you can hit it from behind. So you can just stand behind it, mash the button,
and as you can see, I was in the hitbox, and it didn't damage me.
No, this boss is it's not that hard. Most of this game, not actually terribly difficult once you get into the swing of it. It's very new player friendly in that way. There's a couple of places you can bang your shins and take a full bar of damage, and we'll see those, believe me, but that's not really a concern for the first half of the run.
Yep, so now after this, we beat Grasshopper, and we are now moving on to Halloween Town Square Part 2, and I guess we will explain the little story elements that are occurring now. So when we arrive, you will see the Wolfman being attacked by the fabulous Dark Lagoon leeches. The reasons for this is because there are vats spewing out a certain type of fog that is causing them to act unlike themselves, and we must destroy said vats to fix the leeches to stop attacking the citizens of Halloween Town. And also right here, you will notice that something interesting. You would think that Jack controls when cutscenes play. No, that is incorrect. 0 is the indicator for when cutscenes happen. So if 0 happens to get stuck, you will be waiting, unable to move for several seconds until 0 catches up to you.
Zero has a few interesting mechanics in this game, not just the F-Zero sections and the cutscene triggering, but his nose will glow when you're near a secret. This literally never comes up in the speedrun. We know where everything in the game is, and we don't care about the secrets. So
unless it's 100% run, but that's something completely different.
We had a question in chat as to whether Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas or a Halloween game. Or Halloween property, and I'll say, while it is definitely both, this game is only a Halloween property. We've tricked you. It says Christmas right in the title, but because this is a prequel to the movie, Jack doesn't know what Christmas is. Although inexplicably, all of the extra power-ups are in Christmas presents, which nobody in the town knows what those are, so make of that what you will. Small note in this section, as we are blowing up these machines, the machines open and close on a fixed timer. If you're a new player, this fixed timer can seem extremely hard to predict. But don't worry, after you run this game enough, you'll start to realize there is a pattern. They will open and close. After they stop closing, it takes about 11 beats of the music for them to open again. So if you consider that as you're throwing out a pumpkin, you'll probably get it most of the time. I say probably and most because the third one is moving up and down, and you need extremely good pumpkin control to get every single pumpkin in. Although you only need to hit it 3 times, if you're brand new, it's really easy to waste like 7 pumpkins on that.
It is very true. And also to the person who said both, yes. The answer is yes. This is both a Christmas and a Halloween game, but also only a Halloween game at the same time. Again, make of that as you will.
All right, so this is
I'm just gonna say
Yes,
I
go
definitely didn't slip any money to the runners to convince you that this is a Christmas game, not a Halloween game. As I was putting it together, I was just like, it's just like, yeah, we can get this in here. You're doing a great job so far.
It has Christmas in the title, and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
It says Christmas, that means it's Christmas.
Exactly.
Also, this is the first part of the game that you are likely to accidentally take a whole bunch of extra damage because the acid pits are rather dangerous.
Don't be like me. Don't be like me. I'm doing a stupid strat where you take damage on purpose when you should not, even though you can throw them on the ledges. I'm just doing this to show off.
If you're very precise here, you can get through this entire section without taking damage. It's just a little bit tricky. Now this is maybe the most fun, flashy screen of the game. These are the cool guy jumps.
I am not a cool guy.
Not a cool guy. If you can make it all the way from the start to the end of the cool guy jumps and never hit the acid,
I am definitely not a cool guy.
You are a cool guy. I want to note, there has been no recorded run of a proven cool guy.
Weapon, please activate. Thank you, weapon. I appreciate you activating.
If you want to really flex your muscles on the Discord, you can show off a run where you are a certified cool guy.
Or gal. We don't judge.
Or gal. No. All right, we are most of the way through the area now. There's not a whole lot else that can really be dangerous. We've gotten over most of the dangerous acid pits. We have remaining at this point only the most annoying of the three machines before we leave, get an upgrade, and move on.
And here, we're just going to completely skip the intended solution where you're supposed to make those bugs into a bridge and just jump up ourselves.
Those spider bridges show up a few different times in the game. You literally never need them. Jack is so tall, he can always just grab whatever you would need the bridge to get. You can freeze them in place if you hit them with the frog gun, but you just don't need to.
Yes. So now we're getting on to the final vat, which is the most annoying vat, which you will see me struggle on for certain.
All right, this is a quiet time because we really have to count the beats on this one.
Oop. Gravity.
You can
Momentum.
see how good pumpkin control is key to getting a good time on this particular machine.
So it wasn't terrible, but wasn't the best. It's a good, and that's all I can ask.
Not optimal, but not the worst. I've certainly seen and done worse.
We fixed the leeches. You can see they're happy now. You also see the eye. That is the melting man's eye. So clearly the melting man is in danger, and we're going back to Graveyard 2 to go and see where he is. Speaking of Graveyard 2 is one of my favorite areas in the whole game, and you might find this as heresy, but Graveyard 2 is the only area in the game that is considered the mandatory ice zone. Usually, ice areas in games are notoriously bad because of their movement, but in this game, the ice physics actually are kind of tolerable and good. So,
yeah, one of the interesting...
Yeah, go ahead.
The interesting thing about the ice physics in this game. So you might expect that as you try to move around on the ice, you're slipping and sliding every which way. And this is true. However, if you do a very short hop in between where your standing position and your more forward position, you skip that slow ramp up to your maximum speed. Likewise, if you want to change direction, you can simply do a small hop in the air and change direction. You literally never have to engage with the ice mechanics of this game.
Just so I can poke in. So we talked to the mayor. The mayor wants us to go and have him make us his lunch. He wants some good soup. So we will go and fetch the ingredients for his good soup. But it's, of course, not going to be that easy. You will see why in a little bit. Also, yes, you might have noticed what happened to Jack to get into Graveyard 2. Well, he was leechified. That was the power-up we gained from the fabulous Dark Lagoon leeches.
Yes, it is this game's version of the morph ball. You turn into a little puddle, you move very slowly, and then you end up on the other side. You can cancel this at any point by pushing up, which is great most of the time, and in one room that we'll see later on is terrible.
That bell in the earlier room was also for suckers. You don't need to ring it. It is a trap.
Yeah.
It is a trick.
Not only does this game have short hops, it has plinking, so you can do these little short hops, and then as you do that, run your thumb against the weapon button and hit the enemies really close to the ground without losing any forward momentum, which is very helpful.
So we are coming on to the first ingredient, which is attached to this Hay Horseman. I will be using the pumpkin bombs to just quickly get through that, and we got a brain. That is the first ingredient. And now we come into a room where the ghosts are not synced up whatsoever, so you want to hope for good movement, which I did for cycle, because if not, that undead bovine can give you a lot of trouble.
Also, it's very hard to damage boost your way up there through the bugs because they're going to bonk you in the wrong direction, and those particular bugs, when you kill them, shoot a projectile at you that fires in your previous direction. So you don't really have a lot of ways of simply getting around that outside of killing that bug and then going through as per normal. This is
We will
also
just run under. We will run under those bugs because we can just do that.
Yeah. This is the first area of the game. As a newer player, you might get lost. There's a lot of optional places you can go to that you don't really need to worry about.
And no, that was definitely not broccoli. That was indeed a brain. And you will also probably be confused by the next ingredients we will gather for the mayor's good soup.
Yeah, we coming up on the second of the 3 horsemen here. He likes to fight us in these closed-off arenas. Yeah, the ghost platforms are very good. I really like all of the sprite work in this game. It's all extremely charming, and there's a good reason for that. This game, although it doesn't advertise itself very much in this way, was made by the company Tosei, who you might know as the Japanese studio behind the legendary Starfy games or Super Princess Peach. They have a gigantic number of games under their belt, and I encourage you to go check out their enormous pedigree sometime and their huge Wikipedia list of works.
Oh wow!
This is just
Today
one
I
of them.
learned.
Yeah. This room is kind of fun because if you're real careful about it, you can do this little skip. If you're really fast about it, you can hit it on the way down. That's very hard though. So you need to. Did we hit it? Did we get it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
you
so
got it.
close. I completely forgot what I was doing, and I'm so glad I got that.
You can, so there's a ghost box off screen, and I thought you weren't going to get it, but you can hit that from way that maximum distance and then meet him on the way down.
That was risky on my part. I should have waited till I saw it.
I didn't think that was going to work. I thought you were going to have to go back.
I remembered those walls were there this time.
Pumpkin count's a little thin right now, so we're going to have to pay attention to enemy drops as going forward, because there are no missile refill areas a la Super Metroid. You are entirely dependent on your game knowledge of who drops what pumpkins.
Yes. So the second item we picked up from the horsemen were a pair of rotten ribs. That was
Good
the
soup.
second item. For the good soup, yes.
For
It
the good
will
soup.
indeed. Good soup. Now we're coming on to the final item, which I will use my final 3 bombs for.
Ooh,
Hopefully
risky.
these... Well, the bovines decided to say something about that. But
Now,
that
no.
is some
we
mucus
go.
mold.
It's a
I will
live
let that-
turkey.
Yes. I will let that text box play mainly because I forgot what it was called.
It's a whatever. It's a something.
It is a something. So now
It's
we
some
make
kind of.
the good soup. It is time to make the good soup. But when we go to make this good soup, it is not going to be as good as we thought it was going to be at first. And you will see, or rather, you will not see why. So we will explain it for you after we heal in the electric chair once again.
The other categories for this game, although there's only one on the actual speedrun.com
one
website
one
that
sec.
we keep track of. Yeah.
So right then, we made the melting man because the melting man was torn apart and thrown into that pot into the mayor's soup. So the mayor did not get his soup. He was quite upset, but hey, at least we helped the melting man.
And that also gave us an upgrade. Lets us climb up walls which are covered in pink goo.
But we
We
want to
had
go
a-
back to the runs.
Sure, yeah. So we had a question about categories, and right now there are 2 categories tracked on the website. There's any percent, which is what we're playing now, and there's 100%. 100% is still being routed. There are a few different ways that you could do it, and we're still trying to figure out the optimal way. The third category, which will exist once we have a good way to do it, is going to be the differentiation between any percent and glitchless any percent. You could think of what we're doing right now as glitchless any percent because we haven't figured out how to incorporate ledge warping into the main run yet. But as soon as that becomes practical, the sections are going to bifurcate and we'll have two different versions of the run. You'll notice that we are going backwards. We are backtracking our way back to a 0 section because it is a faster way to get back to Pumpkin Patch for Pumpkin Patch 2.
Yes, we're going to Pumpkin Patch 2, and might I say, this is one of the best, absolutely best parts of the game. This is not a lie whatsoever. Everyone loves Pumpkin Patch 2, except for Dark. Dark, why don't you explain why you dislike Pumpkin Patch 2 absolutely so much?
Well, let me tell you what my favorite things are as a speedrunner. It's step 1 is a stealth section that involves a lot of waiting. I can't get enough of staying in one place, waiting for the game to let me move from one position to another in a stealth section, especially in a speedrun. And I like that stealth section even better if it's completely RNG dependent. If my way of hiding from the enemies is RNG movement, and the length of time which they are scanning me for is also RNG movement, which means it's impossible to actively route this area. You just have to pay attention the whole time. And you can try the risky strats, which allow you to more quickly skip 1 or 2 cycles of hiding under mushrooms, but because it's very hard to predict, or maybe literally impossible to predict, the actual timing of the gnats, you just kind of have to play it safe.
So
he didn't drop a pumpkin. That's
he didn't
unfortunate.
drop a pumpkin. I also have no pumpkins, so we're gonna have to get a little bit of pumpkins because we are in Pumpkin Patch 2 after all. Thankfully, pumpkins drop extremely frequently.
Yes, if you know where to look, you can always find one. So here's this Melting Man upgrade we just got, and as we get to the Gnats section coming up here, we are going to need a handful of pumpkins. I believe we need 6 in the first room and then 2 later on. That's a second kind of block. You can get pumpkins right here that we're going to be getting later. We're going to be getting this game's version of the Shine Spark, the Hot Pepper Potion, which allows us to turn into a flaming scarecrow for a brief period of time and move forward. Although notably, unlike a Shine Spark, we're not truly invincible during this, which is a little bit unfortunate. And it does do a bunch of damage, but it isn't necessarily a higher DPS in all circumstances. There is one boss fight later on. If we have enough peppers, we will be able to show off a pepper quick kill, which is very cool. But you're just not going to be seeing a whole lot of pepper outside of the one unique thing that peppers give us in the speedrun. That is the ability to move horizontally in the air.
So I'm gonna do a risky strat. Nope, I will not do the risky strat.
Nope. See, this is the problem. Yeah, this game is rude.
Yeah, story related, we are currently helping out the witches at this moment because the little witch has gone missing. And as you can see, the gnat was not at the same timing when we entered this room. So that's the thing. But as I was saying, we must go find the little witch to see where she is and if she managed to get the ingredient for the witch's potion.
Yes, when we find the little witch at the end here, she'll reveal to us that she has, in fact, captured a ghost pepper, which is what she needs to make the potion. And that's
But let's
great.
not explain. Let's keep what happens until we get there, shall we?
Yeah, but we're almost there. We'll get there when we get there. Hey, it's the bad room.
It is the bad room. This is known as the baddest room in the whole game.
How's
Not the
pumpkin
most
count?
damaging room, but the baddest room.
Pumpkin count probably about 10 now? Yeah, okay, you're probably okay.
It's interesting that you were talking earlier about categories, and we'd mentioned earlier about the mini games that you collect as you go through. Is that something that you might be tempted to try out? Maybe a collection of mini game runs?
Oh, my controller is glitching out. Oh,
no! See, this is the problem with gnats. Now you got to get more pumpkins, and it tosses you all the way back to
I
the
don't know what
beginning of the
happened.
room. Oh, it has.
Well, that's thank you, controller, not the game, for putting me through the pain and suffering that is gnats.
Well, that's marathons for you, I guess.
Yeah. But as we were saying, mini games as a category, yes, that is something I have brought up, and I think it would be a very fun category to do. It's just
you could try
finding
it,
things to do.
Oh,
You're
See,
definitely open.
Yeah, this is the difficulty with this section is depending on how this gnat is treating you, you can get all the way from that first section, throw 4 pumpkins and get to the second section here in 1 cycle or 3. Also, this last part here is the worst part of the room because you need to go in this extremely slow to the ground goop form from one side to the other over a series of RNG position mushrooms, and if you ever get caught, you do the entire room again.
So it is not fun, and it is known as like a run killer.
If we were in a main stage GDQ, this would be the time I say, and now we read donations, and we'd hear wonderful people from Germany give $50 for nigh on 2 minutes as we slide on the ground.
Well, if you really want me to say something, I can say something if you want. It won't be
Go right
donations.
ahead.
It won't be
Please.
quite as amusing, but it will just be sort of checking in, making sure that everybody is staying hydrated, and making sure that we're all looking out for each other. Again, if you've missed any of this show or any other Hotfix show, it's going to be on our YouTube channels. So we have highlights going up on the Summer Best segments, and we have the full VODs going out on the main Games Done Quick YouTube channel. In terms of what other hotfixes we've got going on, we have got a big one and done-a-thon that's going to be coming up next weekend, starting on December the 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern, same as when this show starts. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of cool gamers, a lot of cool games going into that. So yeah, everybody do stick around.
That's right, GDQ has stuff going on all the time outside of SGDQ and AGDQ, and a lot of cool stuff to check out. All right, this is not quite as bad as the other room, but it's still pretty bad.
It is more tolerable.
You don't have nearly as many pumpkin blocks to deal with, so your resources are less strained. But you do still have to deal with these huge swaths of room here where you have to bounce between these unpredictable position mushrooms while waiting for the gnats to let you by. And we've timed this. You don't know how much time is going to be in between the gnats, and you don't know how much time the gnats are going to be active.
So
Truly nothing about this is predictable.
Yes. Right now we are getting to the end, and we're about to find the little witch, and this is going to explain what I waited to talk about. Remember at the end of Metroid Samus Returns, or at the end of Metroid games where you have to escape the planet on a timer? Well, guess what? We're doing that right now, where we currently have an object that is about to explode in 600 seconds, and we are tasked with getting back to the beginning before then.
Right, if you let this timer run out, it is an instant game over. And what if I told you you had to do this timer with a stealth section backwards?
You would say you're insane, but believe it or not, that is the truth.
I generally like this game. I'm on its side. I think it does a lot of cool things, and it's worth recommending. I don't
fully
like this
agree.
section. I don't like the Gnat Zone.
No, everyone hates Pumpkin Patch 2. No one in their right mind likes Pumpkin Patch 2.
And if you want, in the 100% run, you can do another stealth zone. There's an optional one to go get an extra goodie.
Exactly. So if you want more stealth because you absolutely want to do lots more stealth, you can do that in 100%.
Thankfully, it's not as bad on the way back as it is on the way there. So
Yes.
it should go a little bit smoother. Unfortunately,
I should definitely not be reading chat, though, as I'm going through this. That would be my downfall.
This is the one area of the game I would tell you absolutely do not read chat, because the consequences for failure are time loss, and the consequences for time loss are instant game overs.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
it's
unwritten rule.
it's not nearly so bad backwards, because you can just run through this entire section. It's still kind of bad, though. Although this game gives you a generous 600 seconds, which is way more than you need. It's like you need maybe 200 or 300 seconds at most.
I might have hit that wall.
I don't think you hit it. Oh, all right, there we go. No, not even close.
And I'm not going to risk that because it's already going, even though I probably could have made it.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You probably could have made it.
But
we
what
can't
if I
guarantee.
didn't? You know? It's like...
There we go.
Thankfully,
all right,
gnats are now done.
That's the really nasty section over with. The rest of this is pretty straightforward. Yeah, this game is it's quite cool. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it.
Ow. Spikes hurt.
Not so bad. Not so bad. And then you have this basically final nat room where you have to pay attention to anything because you can't run through it all at once. Although
All right.
sometimes maybe you can.
Let's see if this bug drops an HP.
No. Wow.
It does not,
Unlucky.
but this mushroom does.
Yeah. All right.
So now we're going
Hey.
on to the next boss.
Yeah,
the
what if I
pill
told
bug.
you? What if I told you you had to do after the stealth section on a timer backwards? You have to do a boss fight, and the boss fight is also still on the timer, and the timer
Yes.
keeps going during and after the boss fight.
There is no stopping this timer.
So this is the pale bug. He's a quick two-phase fight. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong here. We basically just have to hope for good pumpkin position RNG. He will roll himself into the pumpkins, and then he's vulnerable for attack. That's kind of all there is to it in this first section. If he goes too far without hitting a pumpkin, he has a small, short projectile shooting phase. This is a pretty
Good
much
RNG.
optimal.
I blew up the
No!
bomb. I blew up the bomb. I was a little
Don't-
too eager.
Don't shoot the bomb. And now with that one, so now this is real sketchy. Because he's not going to hit it. And okay, there we go.
Oh, he only wanted one hit there.
Yeah, we got a bit of a bad rhythm now on this boss fight, but it's okay.
Also, guess what? You see that bug? Well, now prepare to see a bigger bug from inside that bug. Mm-hmm. Also, I
Just
don't
in
know why
case-
there's a pumpkin bomb behind us.
It just spawns. So just in case you weren't stressed out enough
Oh,
by
wow.
having to do a phase of a boss fight on a timer, you actually have to do a second bigger one. And you can hit him from a variety of positions with a couple of different weapons. You can hit him with pumpkins on the ground there if all of the pumpkins have blown up and you're quick and careful about it. But this phase is really
go.
short. So
So just
it's
to check, what is our current time? I just want to see how we're going along.
By the looks of things, you're about 47 minutes through.
Yeah, that's pretty much on schedule of what I wanted to be, so that is good to hear.
You love
yeah,
to hear it.
that is just about now the halfway point of the game. So thank you for those of you who've tuned in and seen the first half of the game. For anybody who is new, I would like to give, if you haven't tuned in, we have a whole nother half of this game. This is Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King for the 2005 release on the Game Boy Advance. This is being run by current world record holder in any percent, Holiday Wither, with me, the fragrance of dark coffee, on couch. So we just got our next weapon upgrade. This is the second weapon that uses ammunition, the Hot Pepper Potion. This is our sort of weird shine spark, mostly used to skip rooms and abuse movement, and used in one boss fight later. But for the most part, you're not going to be seeing it a whole lot.
All right, and if I remember correctly, now we're heading on to Dr. Finkelstein's lab part 2.
Yeah, Finkelstein's Lab 2 is going to be our first upgraded weapon. We are going to be upgrading the frog gun from its current iteration into one that has a continuous shot instead of a multi-sequence shot, and it does a little bit more damage. That is not where you want to be going. That is an extra room, and it is an easy trap to fall into.
You would think
you're
you would
not-
go there because you gained the power-up, so it makes sense to use the power-up you just gained. But no, it is indeed a trick.
Yeah, so now we're just going to be heading off to Finkelstein 2. Finkelstein 2, a little bit dangerous. It has these buzzsaws on the ground that do quite a bit of damage to you, and a couple of enemies that can surprise you in their positioning. But
Yes, it
if you're
also
paying-
has one of the best bosses in the whole game. We'll get to that when it happens.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We all love it.
Yes, and we're also doing this 0 section for the last time. So if you enjoyed seeing this section, well, enjoy it while it lasts because you won't see it anymore.
There is only one optimization to be made in the 0 sections, and that's you can skip the intro with the 1 second fade in if you push start.
Yes.
That almost doesn't matter, but it's faster.
It's interesting. This seems like the sort of thing that one of the developers was just like, well, we can do it on the console, so why not just throw it in there anyway?
I know, right? The Game Boy Advance, look at this cool sprite scaling and this quasi 3D effect with this foreground background thing.
The graphics, bro.
It's so cool.
Exactly.
It did look very cool in 2005.
It is,
So-
yeah, it's a really nice looking game.
Oh, it is. It is one of my favorite looking Game Boy Advance games, I will say.
It has all these really charming idle animations that we basically don't see. It has a lot
Oh
of
my gosh.
extremely pretty pixel art. Yeah, there's our
That power
shine
up is
spark.
incredible.
Okay, two things. One, maybe I'm biased because this is my favorite movie of all time, so that's why I give this game a lot of praise. But that's neither here nor there. The art style is still good. Two, you might have just noticed a lot of things. One, we did just shine spark across the screen. Two, Lock, Shock, and Barrel have knocked out all the lights in this area, making it very hard to see. So if you were playing this on the original console for the GBA, this area would be very dark, and the only way to see is using the lantern that that the mayor has granted us. And thirdly, this is one of the most deadliest areas in the game because a lot of things do a lot of damage. We said we were going to Dr. Finkelstein's lab. Well, we were all wrong. We are in Graveyard 3.
I mean, Dr. Finkelstein's lab is on the other end of Graveyard 3. It's just that Graveyard 3 is a deadly hell pit full of these horrible little patches that do a lot of damage to you if you aren't expecting them.
Yes. Now, if you were playing this game as intended, you are supposed to be using the pepper to shoot over those spikes. But being speedrunners, and speedrunners being speedrunners, we speed through everything, and thus we just damage boost through the whole thing.
If you're curious about the purpose of these little blue flames, by the way, if you shoot them, it lights up the stage. But if you're playing on any console, like a modern one with a good screen, or using the Game Boy player on the GameCube, you don't need extra light. You can see here just fine. Wow, that ledge is not behaving.
Jack, please. Jack sometimes just doesn't like to grab ledges. It's a sad fact of life that we
Ledges
deal
in
with.
this game, generally speaking, are kind of weird. You can approach them from the front and push forward and you'll climb the ledge, or you can approach them from below and push up and you'll climb the ledge. And sometimes there's a weird little in-between where you'll simply not climb the ledge at all.
So this
you
room is all
kinda-
bonus.
Yeah, you can ignore everything here. Just a brief context for what we're actually doing. We're trying to find the real Shock, Lock, and Barrel in an army of imitators, but the real ones are in the same positions every time, so we don't even need to bother with looking for the fake ones.
So we are now getting to one of the deadliest areas in Graveyard 3, which we will see in but a moment. First,
this,
we must
real
shine Sprite again.
Right here, one of the only mandatory uses of the power-up in the zone. We're also going to use it on the way back. That's about it. Although it does refill your pepper right here if you want it. And peppers are generally helpful to have a couple of. You don't really need many of them, but there are a few skips which are only possible if you have them. And you can only get them from some very specific areas because, again, drops in this game are fixed. So you have to know where you can get your peppers.
So for the purposes of this run specifically, I am going to save here because the next room can kill you very quickly. And
Yeah, this next room's real run
something
under.
interesting about this game. Your checkpoints are not based off the bosses you defeat. No, it's based off of where you save last. So if you haven't saved at the start of the game and you die here, well, you'll have to do the whole game all over again. And we don't want that.
Yeah, these gargoyles, they do a lot of damage to you.
They do 4 pips, and they attack you very quickly, even faster than other enemies in the game.
Mm-hmm. There are places where they sneak up on you. You can fall into them if you're not paying attention. They're hidden in some very hard to avoid places. They're not always completely predictable. It's a real rough time. This is maybe the second deadliest area in the entire game.
Yes.
Oogie 3 is probably the actual deadliest area.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that when we get on there.
Yeah.
Well, for you, Dark, it might be Oogie's Lair Part 1, but that's another story.
Oogie's Lair 1 is mean. We'll talk about Oogie's Lair 1 when we get to Oogie's Lair 1.
So yes, all these Lock, Shock, and Barrels are fake, except for the last one. You can just skip them. How they get out of that room, don't question it.
Also, if you fall right here, the gargoyle is off camera if you're not climbing on the ladder, and he can be facing towards you while breathing fire, so you can just, take most of a bar of health.
Yeah.
This is
And
one of
with-
the reasons that, resource management is so important to know where you can damage boost.
Yep. And with that, we are currently getting to the end of this area. Prepare for one of the easiest rooms in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then following that, hey, look, it's like from that movie.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So we have cornered.
Is that like a reference to something?
I don't know.
You push start too many times. Skip the dialogue.
I'm getting
So
real
now-
The Nightmare Before Christmas vibes right now.
So-
I don't know, kinda.
I don't know. Also, hey, look, it's from that movie. So what we just did is we
neat.
tried to find Lock, Shock, and Barrel, but it was too difficult. So we just gave up and came back.
We couldn't find them. Also, fun little tidbit here. You do need peppers to escape from this area. If you don't have them and you talk to the mayor, he will give you 3.
Yes.
This is just to prevent you from soft locking. However, you only need 2 of them to get out of the room, so you have sort of an extra pepper in the bank for a later skip.
So now we are moving on to Dr. Finkelstein's lab, which is somewhat deadly, but
It can be pretty bad. There are a lot of little things that can get you. You've seen a few times the dung beetles, which have the most obnoxious, unpredictable hitbox of any enemy in the game by a huge margin. You
They
can
are
be making an Olympic leap, gracefully bounding over them, and the bottom pixel of your ankle will touch the top
Yes.
of the ball. You will be pulled into a slow, long damage animation.
it is very vertical hitbox.
It's really wonky. Yeah, not a whole lot to do on the run up here. We're just going to be kind of zooming our way forward in this little goop form. It's a little bit slower on the way back than it is on the way in.
Yep.
You can damage boost a little bit here, but not a lot.
Do we get to beat up Lock, Shock, and Barrel in this game? In a sense, yes, we do. You'll see
yes
more
and
as we
no.
get there.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We
We'll
give them a
talk
stern
about Lock, Shock,
talking.
and Barrel.
So now we're gonna talk to Finkelstein. Don't ask how he got up here. But we need to go save Igor. Igor is currently in danger, has not returned. So we must go fetch him for the professor. This also gave us an upgrade for our frog gun, where you can now hold down the B button, which is the activation button, and it will automatically hold the frog gun out.
It gives you a continuous hitbox instead of the other one, though you can still tap it if you want to, and if you're a speedrunner, you might be muscle memory inclined to tap it constantly. Doesn't really make much of a difference for the DPS. It does matter a few times later. There's a boss that you want to stand in front of the inside the hitbox of and tap constantly, because when he does damage to you, if you're holding the button, you'll stop shooting. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
So yes, those saw blades that come out of the floor deal 4 pips of damage and are scattered everywhere in this laboratory. Why does the professor need so many safety mechanisms? Don't ask me, but he does.
I mean, you gotta be careful. The electricity is all messed up here. We gotta go fix it so that the saw blades will work properly.
Also, you might notice, the professor has a sun, a literal ball of plasma, in his laboratory. But guess what? It gets even better. When we move over to the next room, if I can quickly get here before this ball of plasma hits me, which it did, but I managed to go, there are 2 giant suns that the professor has. He is splurged on his giant balls of plasma.
The giant ball of plasma appears only in those 2 rooms. It cannot be defeated. It is just a moving obstacle with no adequate explanation. And after you restore electricity properly, they're still there. So,
Yes.
who knows? Who's to say? Yeah,
So
you do
now-
have to be very careful
Yes.
because those are
So
dangerous.
here you can sort of not worry about your damage and how much you're taking, because there is another shrunken head that is right past here after Igor.
No,
And
he's
we're coming
stuck.
up to the best boss in the whole game. Get ready, everyone. I want
All
everyone
right.
to get ready. Get ready for the best boss in the whole game.
All right, quiet time. We have
I'm
a
ready.
serious boss fight here.
This
I'm ready,
takes
I'm
a lot
ready.
of determination.
Yeah, there's the boss. Ready? Can we? And one more.
There we go.
All
Oh,
right,
that was so
round of
tough.
applause. Holiday Wither.
Claps
We
in
did
chat.
it. We got
That was-
through.
That was a boss?
That was
That
the
was
boss fight.
that was the boss. Yes.
Area
Cool.
over. Now we just have to
Okay.
go backwards and leave. And what's
Brilliant.
weird about this, what's really weird about this is the reason we did that in the first place is because the door to our house is locked and the professor has unlocked it. He was holding our own house hostage.
Yes. He had our house keys.
So now that that's done, we're going to go to Jack's House 2. Jack's House 2 has its own unique mechanic, which I personally have no beef with and Holiday Wither hates.
It is my least favorite area in the whole game, and we will discuss that once we get there.
We'll get to it when we get to it. It's coming up in just a minute here.
I cannot avoid this. I must be strong and get through this.
Oh no, you got hit by the sun.
Yeah, but thankfully the sun is one of the least damaging items in the whole game. Ow, the saw blades
it's weird.
hurt.
Yeah, you'll notice we've already taken a full bar and a half from hitting 2 saw blades. So if you're not being very careful or you have less game knowledge going in, it's really easy to put yourself into a position where you have to sort of overplay and be really cautious because you've nicked yourself in the shins too many times in the laboratory.
The nice thing is, though, if you know there's going to be something that deals more damage,
Oh, it got it. See,
that deals more damage than... So say you're coming up against those saw blades, you could actually hit one of those gnats to deal only 1 pip of damage and then run through the saw blades using invincibility frames to save yourself from taking more damage.
That is a neat little technique. It doesn't come up a lot in the run, but there are a couple of times where you want to keep it in mind.
Yes.
Also, we are kind of low on pumpkins. Not that we need a ton of them going forward, but we are going to be using, about 30 of them in the next boss fight. So
we will
want to keep an
thankfully
eye on that.
Be able to get them very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you do not want to get hit by those electrical beams because in slug form, it does slow you down a lot.
Yeah, it's a real problem. You don't have to worry too much about your health at this point because there is a little electric chair right on the next screen. So if you need it, you can top up and it takes a couple of seconds. Electric chairs always take the exact same amount of time to heal you regardless of how hurt you are, which is sort of a strange consequence of this game's mechanics. And here we are in Jack's house too.
So when we get there, well, we are already here. Everything will seem normal. First, we get introduced to these trampolines, which can be a little annoying sometimes. And then you also notice that purple box. First, the vampire. The vampire does not have a taste for blood. We must give the vampire its taste for blood back. And that is because of said boxes that are scattered around. Dark, would you like to explain what those boxes are?
Sure. Well, in the lore, the vampire has lost his insanity, and it has been taken from him and put into these boxes, which spew forth a noxious purple gas. In actual practicality, if you get hit by the boxes, you just get reversed controls. Up, down, left, right, those are reversed, and A and B are reversed. And if you know about this ahead of time, you don't really have to worry about it. You can compensate for it pretty easily. But you do have to, pay attention. This is also going to be a mechanic in the upcoming boss fight, which is not that hard, and we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yes, that is the main reason I do not like this game, because I do not like my controls being inversed on me, especially on short notice, and on a certain timer that you really cannot see. You have to count out for yourself.
This room contains, I think, my favorite skip.
Which I will not
looks
be
like
doing.
you're not going to go for. So the long route here is we're going to activate Wilt. We're going to run over to the right. We're going to activate this little lantern, which opens a door. You do need a pumpkin or other source of fire. To activate this, you hop to the bottom. Wilt is already active. You hop up. You are just barely on the timer to get through this door.
Make sure you keep your bombs out here.
Because right there, now I'm going to... Yeah, just enough time for me to explain the skip there, if you have enough peppers to do it. Now, in that room you just saw, if you use a pepper, you can skip getting Wilt altogether, activate the lantern, jump, fall down, and go via pepper form through that narrow crevice leading to the next door, land in that hallway, fall down, and you're still in... You're still in Pumpkin King mode, you're in Flaming Scarecrow mode, so if you time it correctly, you can also hit that lantern on the way down and activate the next door, which saves you a couple of seconds.
Third time is the charm.
The hitboxes of these trampolines seem quite rough, and
They're really weird.
You can't always quite get enough height to get to the next part.
If you're holding...
gosh.
If you're holding A while you're being sort of bumped up, you'll get the correct bounce. But if you don't have the timing for that properly, you'll not get high enough.
This area has not given me this much trouble, ever.
This is a fairly unusual version of this space, but this happens sometimes. We're going to be a little light on pumpkins for the upcoming boss, but that's okay.
Oh, now this area is gonna mess with me.
I do want to note this room is a good candidate for a future ledge warping opportunity, being one of the relatively few rooms that has breakable ledges, and considering that we need to move off to the right, sort of right here. This is where we would want to ledge warp to. So if you're a real scientist, a real speedrun scientist, that's a good room for you to start experimenting with. We do have an example video of what ledge warping looks like in the tech exploration channel of the Discord.
I don't know what my frog's breath just did there, but it did something.
All right. So we have a couple more rooms of this, and these rooms can be a little bit deadly if you are not used to them. Especially this next room, with clever jumping and careful practice, you can make it through this room.
I just need a bit of concentration for this.
Yep, you can get it through here without bonking your shins too many times on the catapults. All right, we made it through to the end. If you jump right at the top of those, right after the sort of right on the edge of where those boxes are. Oh yeah, there's no. You know, let me put a link to the Discord in the chat real quick now that people have requested it. So if anyone wants to check out this community's Discord, it's a fun little place. I recommend you check it out. Let me just drop a link. Well, there it is. There's the Discord, the official Pumpkin King speedrunning Discord.
I'm gonna save here.
Yeah, it's a little dangerous. You're a little light on pumpkins for this fight, but it's not so bad. That Discord notably is also the home of the other Nightmare Before Christmas game for the PS2. So if you want to run either of those two games, that's the place to do it.
All right, now we're gonna fight what we term Mothra.
They're in your house. This is your house, and it has a big moth in it. This is just pest control. So this boss uses the mechanics we saw from the previous purple fog. It also has a second phase with a bunch of acid. And if you have enough pumpkins, you can just do this. You can just throw pumpkins at it from right here. But now that we're out, we need to switch to both bats and frog's gun, depending on the position, Mothra. Oh, did the link get blocked? That's okay. Well, you can. That's understandable. That's fine. If you want to find a link to the Discord, you can do that very easily. If you go to this game's speedrun.com page, there is a link to the Discord.
Yes,
I can't
the moth
link that
is
either.
shooting acid.
Yeah, I links are understandably blocked in the GDQ chat, so you can probably find that pretty easily if you just go to this page, this game's official speedrun.com page.
Okay, we're a lit low on health, but Moth should be dead in like a second.
There we go. Pretty good moth fight, good recovery. That goes a lot faster if you have pumpkins, just because you can always hit him.
I'm curious if I can get the glitched end screen. So this is something we learned about recently, yesterday, being recent, is that if you spam start to open the pause screen after a boss, this dance specifically, you can see a glitched version of the final defeat of the boss.
We don't think this breaks the game.
We don't think. Hopefully it doesn't. Well, we want, not now, but hopefully later.
Also, you'll notice there, the bat gate, which is, there are only two of them. The bat gate that you push has a weird invisible wall on it. And I think this is because there might be some way to get yourself where you shouldn't be on the other side or inside of that gate. The gate is the only thing stopping you from running right to Oogie Boogie, right towards the beginning of the game. But now we have the upgraded Batarang. The upgraded Batarang has a bunch of interesting properties over the regular Batarang, including traveling through walls and having 3 projectiles instead of 1. Additionally, an enemy struck by the upgraded Batarang will have future bats home in on its location. Neither of these things matter at all. We just don't use the Batarang to actually kill anything most of the time. All right, we have a couple more F-Zero sections. This is the first one that we did. We're doing it again to more quickly escape. It's faster than running back to the entrance. Not a lot going on here.
We are moving on to the final area of the game, that being Oogie's lair. It is time to finally go confront this Mr. Oogie Boogie we've been hearing about this whole time.
Now, Oogie's lair has 3 distinct sections, and we'll talk about
I wasn't looking
each
at
of them.
screen. That's my fault.
We'll talk about each of them as we hit them. The first, Oogie 1, is very long, and mostly that's because it involves a fetch quest. You have to do this big, long thing to go get the clown with the tearaway face's face, which has been stolen from him. Now,
Yes.
face skip is high on the list of things that we're trying to engineer in the speedrun, but we found an unusual, or perhaps known planned thing by the developers. See, the only thing that's stopping you from skipping the face quest altogether is a big invisible wall off to the left of the area. And one might think, oh, there's a hill in the room right before that big invisible wall. You can turn into the Pumpkin King and fly over the barrier and get right to the next section of the game. Except that as far as we know, the invisible wall stretches not just to the top of the screen, but above it. So no matter how high you jump from that point and hover off to the left, you'll hit that invisible wall. Jack will land on the ground and say, I don't think I should be here yet. And you just have to go turn around. A little sip of water here as we careen here towards the final 3 areas of the game. Now,
Which
you'll
also,
note-
I will
Yeah.
make note, and we'll talk about this when we get there, but you could really have an amazing run. And you hate to hear this, but sometimes the boss, the final boss, could have a say on if your run is truly worthy or not. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, the final boss is the worst RNG in the entire game, and this is a game with Nat RNG. But we'll talk about Oogie 2 when we get to Oogie 2.
Yep.
It's
so
always
this is
encouraging when the worst is right at the end of the run.
It's such a killer because it's the last thing. It's the last thing you do in the game, and I have lost a run literally on the last phase of the last boss
Yep.
before.
Oh no.
And I've lost a good run because the game crashed because of Oogie. So,
And the game doesn't crash anywhere else. It's only sometimes on Oogie 2, and it's very rare. I've only seen it happen once in all the runs this game's ever had.
yeah. And
Yeah,
guess
so
what crashes it? The batarangs. Another reason we don't use them.
Just don't bother. We'll talk about weapon choice in Oogie 2 later, but boy, the batarangs are not a helpful way of beating this game most of the time.
Except for Snake.
Except for Snake, and very, very briefly a little bit on Grasshopper if you're very good. So we're now in the fetch quest here. There's a lot of damage boosting, and you have to be really careful because this section is very long and full of things which are really high damaging. Those swords can do a lot of damage to you. There are some acid bugs who can do a huge range of damages to you. We saw them originally in Pumpkin Patch, and they're here again too. And those bugs have extremely strange and unpredictable hitboxes. Now, you'll notice most of the bugs don't have an active hitbox as they come out of their shell on the wall. But this isn't universally true. There are some bugs on the way out, and yes, I've lost runs to that too, from in between you and the very end of the fetch quest that do have an active hitbox the entire time, and because they do a random amount of damage, you can't reliably damage boost through them. The only thing to do is to have enough game knowledge to be aware of them and just wait. Just wait a little tiny bit. Or if you really did a great job on Oogie 1, you can damage boost through them. But that is relatively rare given how many things you're going to bonk into in between now and the end of this section.
Jack is starting to be a little finicky. Sometimes he can just be very finicky with his controls and what you want him to do. So it takes a little used to getting used to Jack's controls. But for the most part, he does obey most of the time.
You gotta be the ledge with her. You gotta just know
just
it.
gotta
Feel it
be
in
the
your
ledge.
bones. Be the ledge.
Be the ledge I want to be.
Those are the bugs that don't have a hitbox until they crawl out of their egg, except sometimes when they do.
The hitboxes of these exploding bugs is wonk.
They'll go away if you leave them. If you have them on your body and then you screen transition, they'll go away. Also, those trees in the background that make a funny face at you, those aren't just for show. They'll spawn a big, horrible, damaging projectile at you, somewhat randomly, which can do a whole lot of damage if you're not expecting it. And if you get slowed down by bonking into other enemies on the way, it increases the chance of them, just belching one of these huge balls at you, which will do a lot of damage. That guy usually drops pumpkins, and at the very top here, these small gnats usually, but not always, drop peppers, which can be pretty useful for a few skips, including some later on in Oogie 2, which we'll
This
talk
room is
about
very
when we
deadly.
get there. This room is a real killer. See those
Going
bugs?
downwards.
They have an active hitbox when they come down, unlike the other ones of the same type. And we've been taken all the way down to one box here. Luckily, if you have extra pumpkins, this box will always spawn a full hit bar's worth of health. So you can top off if you're worried. All right,
Now we're gonna
strats?
fetch the face of the clown, and what we do is we just stand here and shoot up.
So this clown face can spawn from one of any of 4 directions, and he doesn't always show up. This is just RNG. You're just waiting for him to have good spawns, and if he shows up in the area, you'll hit him. And because you can show up at 2 spots in the middle here, on the left or on the right, and going into the middle, if you're just pointing right upwards, then you have him. That's it. You just gotta wait. This is a bit of a slow section. Another good opportunity in the future, perhaps, to read donations.
Dare I
Engaging.
say, I can butt in. It won't be donations, but
Oh, please do.
I can just say that if you are around tomorrow, we've got more hotfix action because we are going to have PB Precipice with Ocarina of Time individual level PB attempts, which is an interesting spin on it. Followed by It's Dangerous to Go Alone, everybody's favorite co-op speedrun show. So that's going to be with Portal 2 as well. So yeah, you got to check that out.
Yeah, you do in that one opportunity get the moment to see the really fun animation that does happen when you're holding the frog, where it has a big beefy arm that comes out and punches. That doesn't do anything. It's just sort of a fun little visual effect. Ah, no pepper.
Well, I have
Well,
a pepper, so we can move
Yeah,
on.
you're okay on peppers, but it really would be nice. There is another bug on the way out the door, on like right towards the last room there that you can get another pepper in, but even that's not 100% consistent, so we'll see. Also, if you fall down there, it's not the end of the world, but it is a bit of a waste of time. And coming up here, yep, there we go. There's the first bonk in your head, and it'll do a bunch of damage to you. These swords can do a lot of damage to you, as you see there. Yeah, the ledge climbing animation's very cool. It's very good. Really silky smooth animations in this game.
You want to go all the way to the left here, an easy downfall.
We have a
Then
couple
I'll-
more rooms to damage boost through here. It gets pretty dangerous on the way out, but you can full heal before we get to Oogie 2.
Oh, Jack, you're a little too jump happy.
All right, there we go.
I kill this one because it mostly drops HP.
Yeah, you
So-
have to be a little careful here.
We are in a little bit of danger. That bug made absolutely no sound when hitting it. That is good to know. This room gets laggy sometimes.
That tree can throw a thing at you, as can this one. There it is.
I should be okay.
I think you'll be okay. Is a little. I mean, you might have to be kind of careful.
Nope, I'm good.
But okay.
I'm good because it doesn't matter how much damage I take now.
Yeah, you're gonna take probably about a full bar on the way out when you bonk on that one egg bug.
But I'm gonna
and
bonk
then-
on that bug for safety reasons.
Good jump. That's a hard jump. That's much harder than it looks.
And we
All
are
right, now,
out
yeah,
of one of the deadliest areas of Oogie's lair.
We are in the clear.
And the clown now has its face, and we have upgraded pumpkin bombs, which you will essentially not see.
Uh-huh. They are big pumpkin bombs now, which you might reasonably assume do a lot more damage than the frog gun, and your reasonable assumption is completely wrong.
Oh, so you wanted to go up? Well, no, we're going down.
Turns out the thing breaks as soon as you use it. You have to come do Oogie 2 before you can do Oogie 3. Ogie
Yes.
2 ends with a little boss fight, and it's basically one big loop-de-loop. And I'm going to point it out as we come up to it. There's a room, which is the end of the large loop, which we've never found a way to get into. If you could, this one place that you can get up to, but you can't get through, then you could save yourself a heck of a lot of time in this. You'd skip a whole boss fight, you'd skip most of the area. There are no required upgrades in this zone. So if you could pull it off, it's right up here, that ledge. We're not going to jump to it, but you can jump to it. Now, there is a
Also-
tech... Yeah, go ahead.
A quick thing, an unfun fact, if you will. Those dung beetles can actually crash your game.
Oh, no!
Yes, it is possible that when you are in them, if you are in a certain movement position, they can end up soft locking your game.
Now,
Also,
that's,
another interesting fact. These spiked balls, you're supposed to grab the side of them and hang on to them. In official guides for this game, it tells you to stand on top of them, which is not recommended at all whatsoever.
You don't need to do it. It's just don't bother. This guy drops a pepper? No, he didn't drop a pepper. Unfortunate. Yeah, Oogie 2 can be kind of deadly. Yeah, you can stand on those, but like, don't.
Don't.
In an earlier point, I mentioned there's a tech that we discovered that is literally never used in the speedrun, though if you want to start exploring, is maybe worth looking into. We like to call it bat wiggling. Now, bat wiggling happens in a very specific set of circumstances. If you are crouching and you have the batarang equipped either level, and you are throwing it constantly while holding forward and down, you move forward by about a third of a pixel. This is useless. There are no places that you can crawl under that you shouldn't by bat wiggling. You can only get to them through goop. Despite our best intentions and best efforts, we have not yet found a way to abuse this tech.
Yet.
Not a whole lot of notable things between here and the exit. There's
Arbitrary
an
wall.
Yeah, just a quick pumpkin check to make sure that you have them, because if you don't, you have to go get them. This is why we don't use a lot of pumpkins, besides the fact that they're frankly not that damaging. There's a couple of these snakes. They're pretty simple. While you're shooting your gun, they move in the direction that you shoot, and while you're not, they move up.
So this is the
it.
cousin of the snake you would have seen in Halloween Town Square Part 2.
Not a whole lot of ways to optimize this section. You can jump off of them a little bit earlier than perhaps intended if you are knowledgeable about the area. Oh, this is one of my favorite rooms, actually. This room right here, it's just fun. Because you just barely look like you're gonna hit that first one, and then you can completely skip all of these other platforms. You can just go right up the middle. But yeah, there's a couple of little spots that you can hop off of the snakes early if you know about them. There aren't really any big skips you can do. We've experimented with a few places, but we haven't found them. Here is the most consistent place in the game to get peppers. It's an enemy right there. He drops a pepper most of the time. We want to have about 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them.
We're gonna skip this room.
Yeah. One of the few pepper rooms that you can skip via pepper. Saves a couple of seconds. Probably takes about the same amount of time to get that pepper as to skip the room, so it's worth going for. And the upcoming boss fight does have a cool looking quick kill if you have 2 peppers, so keep an eye out for that.
Yes, and we are coming up to that final boss very soon, which we call Ball Bug, but apparently in the game's code, it is known as a stuffed caterpillar.
I mean, it is a stuffed caterpillar, but it's made out of these spheres which operate independently. And it never, names the game out loud, so. And there we go. Also, one really minor note. It hasn't come up very much, but if you wanted to really optimize your time, if you're climbing up a ladder, and that ladder has a platform at the very top of it that you can climb through, it is ever so slightly faster to jump off of the very top of that ladder in the direction you want to go. Note, it's a pretty tight window to do so, and failing costs you about a second, but also climbing a ladder costs you about a second, so it's up to you whether you want to go for that. This is one of those rooms that looks like you should be able to skip something, but the spikes do so much damage, and the geometry of it is just barely such that you can't really get through that little zone there like you want to.
Now, this is going to be the second to last area we save in the game because Ball Bug is pretty much the deadliest boss in the whole game.
Yeah, it's got some pretty nasty patterns. Once you learn them, they're not so bad, but if you are a newer player or you're not used to it, you'll find yourself getting bonked in the head a lot of times. Here's Oogie Boogie, say hi. There he is. Goodbye, Oogie Boogie.
So now we're gonna hope for
start.
some We're gonna hope for some good Ball Bug RNG.
Ball Bug has a few different things he can do. He has two different attacks. He has this left and right attack. Oh, I guess he has three different attacks. He has this left and right state, and he has his central pillar state. The central pillar state is much, much faster because you'll notice each of the Ball Bug's balls independently have a jack-o'-lantern-like face, which can appear or disappear. And if you hit it while the face is active, you'll do damage to that face. Each of the 4 faces must be defeated to get through the first phase of the Ball Bug. Which means what we really want for him to do is do that central pillar many times in a row. So we really want him to transition from this state right into this slam attack, which he is going to do, which is very nice for us. And then he's going to go back and do that firing off attack again. And if we can get him to do that multiple times in a row, that is a much faster way of doing the fight. The RNG is, it's okay. It's not, I've seen better. This is pretty middle of the road Ball Bug RNG. Luckily, we are in a position to kind of damage boost through some of these, but not a lot of them. Look, we've already lost 2 full bars of health just from bonking into the Ball Bug as he sways to and fro in his arena. All right, one more face. Not a whole lot to do, but wait for it to get... Oh, bad RNG. Okay, we got it. Here's the next phase, and here's the quick kill. Looks pretty cool if you can get it right. It's a little bit tricky. Oh, there we go. Yep. We can just go back and forth over his head here with the pepper. We're going to do this 2 times. And then the last one really quick shot with the frog gun is going to... Oh, wow. You got the real fast, the really quick kill.
Real fast quick kill.
There's the quick kill. Yeah, so coming up now, we have the final area of the game, Oogie 3. Oogie 3 is extremely mean. It is full of extremely high damage hazards. But once you know them, they're not so bad to navigate.
Understandable with it being the end of the game, but again, it is painful.
It's a real killer. There's a huge, screen width tracking, big spiky
Also
skull.
elevator section.
Oh yeah, the elevator section, and the big spiky skull does a full bar of damage to you, and it's just a big pain in the butt. And you can't shine spark through it with the peppers because it damages you anyway. So yeah, that one's a real bummer. You'll see that. And then after that, we have 2 Oogie Boogie fights. The first one is pretty fast. The second one, we'll talk about Oogie 2 when we get to Oogie 2. Yeah, and here's that end of the loop-de-loop that we're trying very hard to figure out how to cheat. Yeah, I mean, the speedrun of the game, it's developing all the time. We have some tech that we're exploring, and if you want to help us explore that tech, we encourage you to do so. Luckily, we don't need very many pumpkins for the rest of the game. We don't need them for any other boss fights, and there aren't that many pumpkin gates left. So
We
our
are
pumpkin count
essentially
is
done.
Yeah, we're just sort of fine on pumpkins for the rest of the game now, which is great. And I think on peppers, because we don't... No, there's 1 pepper skip in Oogie 3.
There is?
And I think you have... There's one, yeah, there's that one room... Oh, we'll get there. Do you have... I think you have one, though.
Oh, I don't know what pepper skip, because I usually never do pepper skip.
Maybe... Okay, there's a room that you can... if I can remember exact... I do it by muscle memory, so I don't know if I can tell you by description. But I'll try to point it out when we get there.
So now it's time to put a stop to Lock, Shock, and Barrel, because they are currently in our way, and they're going to set up a lot of traps to make sure we cannot get to Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Yeah, this is the section full of traps. You're notably kind of injured in this section, and it is a little dangerous, especially this room. We're getting on some high danger levels here. If you are very careful with your little aerial plinking frog gun, those masks effectively curse you, and while you are affected by their curse, you move very slowly, but they also do a damage to you. And that sounds bad, but they only do 1 pip of damage to you, which is less than most of the enemies. So you can use that damage boost abuse to get through other enemies by being in a damage boost, invulnerable, flashing state. A few more rooms here. We don't have a whole lot of health. At the end of this section, there is another electric chair we are going to heal ourselves up with, but we're really living on a knife's edge for a bit here. Not a lot you can do to avoid it, because you only come to this section right on the tails of Oogie 2, and Oogie 2 has a lot of damage boosting in it.
So I have to be very safe.
Is this the one with the pepper? This one might be the one with the pepper. It might be the next one. I think... No, this isn't the one with the pepper.
I'm glad that ghost did not go into a bad position. So what we're coming up on is the most deadliest room in the whole game. I'm gonna take this much slower than I normally do because there is a spiked floor, and if you fall onto spiked floor...
This is the room, I think, with the pepper skip, by the way. You can skip all 3 of these platforms if you pepper off of the ladder up there. So.
But thankfully, we have made it through, and we are safe.
All right, coming up, we have a full heal, and then a couple more rooms, and a couple more boss fights, and we'll be wrapping up this game.
Yep, we're towards the end.
We have, I think, 2 or 3 more trap rooms, 1 zero section, and 2 boss fights to go.
We will skip that save because there's a better save.
We don't need it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go pursue Shock, Lock, and Barrel, and then...
So now we have one of the deadliest enemies in the game, this giant cruncher. It does 1 full bar of damage, so you want to lure it out of your path when you are moving through this room so you don't get crunched.
And if it gets you on a ledge, that damage knocks you off the ledge, so you can't even really damage boost through it. You just have to carefully position yourself through the room. Now, right here, this box does have a full health up. Not a full health up, but like a full bar up. If you did do a really bad job or you're having difficulty with that last room, you can run through that box. It does respawn when the room comes through, so you have a little bit of a safety, because again, you don't really need pumpkins at this point in the game, so you feel free to waste them.
All right, time to hold right.
Ready? We're holding right, and we're not doing anything else. Bonked. That's RNG.
Bonk.
Oh, 2 bonks. That's pretty bad.
Pretty bad, but we did it, so now it's time to go face Oogie.
Yep, there's time for Oogie 1. 1 more zero section. This is the last shrunken head of the game. This brings us up to a total of 6.
And trust me, we will need these 6. And that would be made
Oogie,
soon.
Yeah, Oogie 2. Bonk. Oogie 2 is a real killer, and you damage boost the heck out of that fight. So you do need to make sure that you have all 6 of these. It's not too bad if you bonk, because again, that one gives you back up to your full health as soon as you pick up a shrunken head. It's just you lose about a second.
Yeah, it's just this final zero section is very precise in its movement because Zero's hitbox is pretty normal. It's just sometimes hard to see them when they're out on the side and they're a bit wider from the distance.
It's really easy to sort of clip the sides of Zero. Not so much the top and the bottom, but he's very wide. He's a wide dog. All right, all we have left now are 2 boss fights, Oogie 1 and Oogie 2. And so, as with... You go ahead.
Oogie 1 is actually not that hard. Oogie 1 is quite easy to get through. There's really not much to say as well. Oogie also goes through a set attack of patterns, set pattern attack that is indicated by the dice he rolls because we're now boogieing with Oogie. And that's pretty much it. There's only essentially 4 attacks that Oogie has in this battle. And they're pretty easy to avoid.
And which attacks he picks doesn't really matter that much for the speedrun because he's vulnerable for the same amount of time. Either way, I believe you need to have him flash damage with the frog gun. We counted, was it 25 times? Yes?
Yes.
So that's it. This is a pretty straightforward boss fight. You hang out near Oogie Boogie. You wait for him to be vulnerable. You hold down the attack button. You wait until you've hit him 25 times, and you learn how to dodge the various attacks. That's it. That's the whole fight. So far, so good. It's going relatively well.
Yep. Oogie's boogieing as he do.
If you take a lot of damage in this fight, that's not quite ideal, but it's also not a huge problem because there is a full heal just off to your left. You can take a couple of seconds, take about 10 seconds, hop off to your left, full heal, and come back and do Oogie 2. Fun fact, the first version of this speedrun, we tried to use pumpkins both here and in Oogie 2 because we thought they did more damage. But they just don't.
They turned out not to be so. They were clearly a mirage, an illusion.
Yeah, the PS2 game and this game are kind of sister games. They came out at about the same time. And in fact, if you get the instruction manual, the little Moby Games guide for one game, you also get the other one. They are the same book.
So Oogie should be close to death. This should be a saw blade attack right here.
Couple more, I think 2-3 more phases, or 2-3 more...
One more, because if
loops.
this goes 3 times, it means he's on his last legs.
I'm getting pretty close.
3.
All right, so this may be one more after this, but probably this is gonna do it.
Let's find
I
out.
haven't been counting to 25.
This should be it.
I think this should be the last cycle.
Ooh.
No, one more. Okay.
He's boogieing for his final farewell. Oh,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's fight's a little random, but you know it's Oogie Boogie. He's a gambling man.
He is a gambling man, and these fights are indeed a gamble.
As he will tell you
There we
in
go.
the film, he's a gambling boogeyman. This game is a prequel to the film. You are correct in the chat there. It is a very weird prequel to the film. It doesn't really make sense plot-wise if you think about it too hard as a prequel to the film. So you know, just sort of don't worry too hard. Don't worry too much about it.
Don't worry too hard.
All right,
But-
here's our final Kirby dance of the game. And now
So now we're
our
getting
final
on
boss
to
fight.
the final boss fight, and I'm just going to preface this by saying we want no lock phases. Dark, would you care to explain?
I will explain. So, Oogie is not fighting us by himself. He has a mighty bug steed on which he rides, and with him are all 3, Shock, Lock, and Barrel. Now, Barrel only comes out if you hit Oogie from behind when you shouldn't to attack you, and we're just not gonna see that happen in most versions of this boss fight. The other 2, Lock and Shock, are random. He will select one of them to attack with. Now, Shock, we don't mind at all, because he'll start flying and then shoot some missiles at you, and he is vulnerable that entire time.
Phase 1 down.
Lock, oh good, phase 1. Lock, on the other hand, he can decide after any of these attack phases that the next phase is a lock phase, and during lock phases, he cannot be damaged. Hey, look, it's a lock phase. And lock phases are extremely slow. All you can do is hang out in the corner and wait for them to end as Lock throws these, just kind of hangs out in the back and like waits, and there's this big dangling hitbox. And the real killer, the real kicker about Lock phases is that he can do 2 in a row. And if he does 2 in a row, you can't hit him between the 2. You have no opportunity to force him out of the phase. And in fact, he can't just do 2 in a row. Highest recorded, I believe he can do 7 in a row.
He can do 9 in a row.
Oh, good, we have a new record. He can do 9 in a row. And all you want is no locks. So we have had recorded runs of no lock phases. But if you just get unlucky, he will simply lock you out of the boss fight.
Yeah.
However, the correct or the optimal way this fight goes, you are effectively damage boosting your way into the hitbox and attacking the steed. When the steed takes too much damage, Oogie becomes vulnerable. And when Oogie becomes vulnerable, you can hit him. So the way you do this is you damage boost, you just sit right in his face. Oh, good, lock phase. You spam the frog gun so that even if you get bonked out of the animation, you still have an active hitbox the whole time. And hope that he just never switches to the lock phases, and if you do, this fight can take about 90 seconds. If you don't, this fight can take minutes.
It could be 15 minutes.
It's
Again.
Oh, cool. We got the double lock.
And again, if we had, this might be a place where donations would be read if there were any.
Unfortunately, this is the worst RNG in the run. If you can figure out how to coerce Oogie Boogie into not doing this, then you're a friend of mine. We'd love that.
So
In fact,
I've had runs where it's been a minute 30. but clearly Oogie is not being cooperative with the camera.
3? No, okay, not 3. Yeah, we don't know if it's truly random or if there's any way to influence what phase he goes through or which attacks he goes through. We have, like, theories, but because
He's
it
on the
might
final
be
phase.
random, we don't know. All right, final phase is pretty short, but you are very injured, so
This could be
careful there.
either Oogie wins or we win.
You know, if you're desperate, you can switch to batarangs.
It's over. There we go. Time.
We got it. That's run. There's
Hey.
time. There it was. 2005's Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before
Nightmare
Christmas,
Before
The Pumpkin
Christmas.
King for the Game Boy
And
Advance.
one more dance. Well, that is time, but we get to see one more
it's,
dance.
yeah.
I want to see. Can I get the glitched ending? I'm spamming the start button.
Can you get glitch percent here? It doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything. Game's over. Runs over. But you can bonk out the tile data. So we'd like to thank you all so much for tuning in. This game's a really fun little run. It's interesting. It's strange. It's very beginner.
Well, I skipped the
speedrunner
final
friendly.
cutscene.
Oh, yeah, good job.
Dark,
it's-
would you like to explain something interesting about these credits, though?
I would. So the credits are a little weird, much like the rest of this game is a little weird, because the credits have a lot of people in them. You'll see presidents and vice presidents, localization team, marketing team. What you won't find are any of the artists or programmers or other people who actually contributed to the code base, because Tosei is something of a ghost developer. You hire them, they make a game, and they don't credit themselves at all. Very strange.
Well, that was a good run. What was the time?
The time in the end came up just to a 1:40:34.
Okay,
It's not bad.
That's not too bad.
It was. It's technically 140.
Yeah, that's not terrible. Yeah, this is a really newbie-friendly speedrun. You've basically now seen the whole thing. The tricks are small and mostly remembering to do them. You know, which runs that you can, or which rooms you can skip with peppers, or which you can't. The other little thing, you know, which enemies drop what. Other than that, the route is very easy to learn, and there's a lot of room for the speed run to grow. There are glitches known that might make the run faster. They just need more experimentation. So we encourage you, if you found this interesting, the speed run is only about an hour and a half, a little over that. It's a really good run to pick up and play. We encourage you to come join our Discord, where you can see content for either this game or the other Nightmare Before Christmas game, the action game, which, although that's not this game, I will say, that's like a cool, weird game too. It's a beat 'em up, literally made by Capcom by the Devil May Cry team.
Oh,
It
wow.
is secretly a Devil May Cry game starring Jack Skellington, and it is a musical during all the boss fights. You have to play a rhythm game to hurt the bosses. It's a weird video game.
That's incredible.
It's a good weird time. Thank you all so much for having us. It's been an honor just to be here. I have been the Fragrance of Dark Coffee. Holiday Wither, do you have anything else you'd like to plug?
I have nothing else I need to plug. Well, if you do want to find us, I will plug this. You can find both me and Dark on Twitch at our retrospective channels, mine being Holiday Wither and Dark Fragrance being the Fragrance of Dark Coffee, both on Twitch, where we do a variety of content, and it will be a lot of fun time. I'd like to thank Hypnotics for bringing us on the show and having us here today, and I especially like to thank all the staff and those working on behind the scenes for making this go as smoothly as possible and making this a great place to be.
It's an honor to be here. I've had a lovely time. I hope you all have as well. Stick around. We got more games coming up after this.
Indeed, we do. You guys have absolutely bossed it. Thank you so much. That was a really, really good run, and it seems like people were really enjoying it as well. Chat was along with you the whole way. But everybody, do stick around. We have got one last game left in this Christmas special. I know I'm going to say it one more time. Last game might have been tenuous, but this game, we have got a collection of sort of, I suppose, Christmas moments. So do stick around, because Kane is going to be showing us the Maestromusic concert. You don't want to miss this. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed the night of festive fun that we have had so far, but it doesn't stop. We have got one last game for you, returning after a great show of Japanese PlayStation 1 games just a couple of weeks back, Kane is back with yet again. I believe this is a Japanese exclusive as well, isn't it? PlayStation 1.
It's not only Japanese exclusive, but it's also a PS1 motion control rhythm game played using the PS Wand. So
You love to see it.
but this is not only is it that, it's also the expansion disc. So the initial game is just the Maestromusic. We're playing the Maestromusic Merry Christmas expansion disc. Where we have 7 Christmas carols to speedrun our way through.
I am very much looking forward to this. Good luck.
Thank you. All right, let me get over to the right song to start on, and then I'm ready to go.
Do you want me to count you in?
Let me count, since I can't really hear you that well when the game's playing.
Cool.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
So first up, we're going to have Angels We've Heard on High. 5 of the 7 songs have Japanese lyrics, so feel free to sing along at home if you want to, but I'm not going to attempt to remember the lyrics while we go. So how this works is I swing the controller and it notes a beat and that progresses the song. But if I go faster, the game's gonna speed up. So we speed running. We also have a health meter at the top left. My goal is to try and keep the volume at the right intensity, because that will help me fail as little as possible. So we can just keep going at 120 speed, and it doesn't matter. I'm going too fast. All right, I'm gonna slow down a bit. There's also coloration to the meters on the bottom. Green generally means good, and then yellow means really bad. All right, so that's the first song. 10% on the tempo, 98 on the dynamics. That's all you need. Good luck singing along. All right, so up next we've got Jingle Bells. This is 100 tempo. The slower tempos are a bit easier to conduct to, because you can go faster and it's like not a physically demanding tempo. But on these faster ones, you can go a lot faster. Hold on. I'm gonna try and not fail any songs. But that's kind of the gist of the game.
There's nothing that screams festive spirit more than shaking your arm around like an angry man.
It's pretty physically demanding, not gonna lie. And I've even adjusted the sensitivity down to make it not as bad.
Oh, wow.
All right, so that was a bit of a shorter one.
Nice.
0% tempo, let's go. I love it. All right, so up next is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This one does have English lyrics, so I'm going to attempt to carol along. Fingers crossed. Oh. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Woo! Bravo! Bravo!
Thank you. 1% tempo, let's go.
I think a lot of people were singing along with you as well.
Nice. This is quite the workout. So next up we've got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Again, this one's going to be Japanese lyrics, so if you know them, sing them, but it's a bit too much for me to try and remember and do all this at the same time. So one thing is you've got to be at the right tempo before you can be at the wrong tempo. Like you can't just jump to a higher tempo, you've got to accelerate up to it. All right, let's not fail. Oh, it missed a beat. Whenever it drops a beat, you've got to reset your speed to retune it back into your whatever rate you're wanting to go. Cutting it kind of close here. Okay. Oh, I'm sweating. 15% tempo. A bit better than I needed to, probably. Alrighty, so we've got Silent Night up next. This is one of the slower tempos, 40, which is a bit easier to get through at a higher speed. Because like at 120, you can go up to like 150, but there's a limit to how fast the game can go. But at 40, you can go up to 150. And won't even start marking you out of tempo for pretty high up there on the tempo before it starts marking it wrong. Oh, too much air. Easy. So it's a much slower tempo, which means you can blitz through it a lot faster. 4%. Basically get none of the tempo right. You're speedrunning correctly. So we got Joy to the World next, which is also another 40. I think this one's even faster than Silent Night. But it's good. Cutting it kind of close here, so I'm going to slow it down a bit. All right. So last song, we've got We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and this one is also in English. So I will again attempt to carol along here.
Nice. I'd like to see chat singing along too. Let's go.
Good luck. We're gonna need it.
I don't know how bad the delay will be on my end, but maybe I'll give it a go.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings we bring. Oh, it dropped. To you and your kin. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We want some figgy pudding. We want some figgy pudding. We want some figgy pudding. Bring it right here. Oh, hold on. I almost failed there. To you and your kin. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it out here. Glad tidings we bring to you and your kin. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings we bring to you and your kin. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And there we have it. Time.
Nice. GG.
6% tempo. My arm is sore.
Can't blame you. Oh my goodness.
And then one last thing, if we've got the time for it on the docket.
We do indeed.
Perfect. So this also has mini games, and there's one mini game in particular that I'm going to bring up real quick, which is kind of a dragster for the Atari 2600 parody, but with Santa and you gotta mush. So let me see if I can just knock this out for you.
I love this so much.
There we go. 992. First try.
Nice.
So there you have it. Maestromusic. Merry Christmas. But that's all the game I've got for you. But thanks for having me, Hypnotics.
Thank you so much for showing this off. I love it so much. And when I first saw you submit this, I was just like, there's got to be a way that we can fit this in. And
there's got to be a way.
it's a perfect way to end off like a Christmas themed episode. So thank you so much. That was that was great fun. If people want to, I'm sure you don't do this every single stream that you do, but if people want to find you or your stream,
I do. I picked up the other expansion disc, which I'm gonna play. I played this last year, the Merry Christmas expansion for Christmas, and I picked up the other expansion disc, and I'm gonna save that for my Christmas stream as well this year.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, if you want to check out other like random wacky Japanese PS1 games like this, my stream always, not every time, but tends to have a mix of this kind of wacky stuff from time to time.
Nice. And then people can find you. It's Kane Apache, isn't it?
Yep. On Twitch, Twitter, YouTube.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, everybody. This has been the Christmas spectacular extravaganza, whatever you want to call it. It's been a blast, and thank you, Kane, for wrapping it up. There we go. If you managed to, sorry, let's try that again. If you weren't able to catch any of the hotfix earlier, then these will be going on to YouTube on both the Summer Best channel, where we'll have highlights, and then the full VOD will also go onto the Games Done Quick channel. But that is us for tonight done. We will have some PB Precipice tomorrow, starting at the same time that this started, 1 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I might have got that wrong, but keep an eye out on when we'll go live next, and also on the Games Done Quick website. Everybody, I'm going to be taking a break on Christmas Day because that's when we'd usually be on, but I think we spend time, and I hope you all, for those of you who celebrate, have a brilliant Christmas, and yes, we will see you in the new year. Have a great holidays, everyone.